Chapter 475. This is a black person? One divine world. In the drunken immortal restaurant, Fu Tian looked at the third prince of the Holy Dragon dynasty in front of him, and his eyes flickered. At this moment, the black substance was slowly invading the third prince's body from his neck. The aura on his body also became stronger and stronger. Looking at the three princes of the sacred dragon dynasty in front of him, Fu Tian extended his spiritual senses. His spiritual sense slowly swept across the third prince of the Holy Dragon dynasty, and Fu Tian also slowly discovered it. At this moment, the substance in the black collar was constantly corroding the third prince's body. More importantly, the fate of the third prince of the sacred dragon dynasty was constantly dissipating. From the looks of it, this black collar wanted to occupy the body of the third prince of the sacred dragon dynasty. With this thought in mind, Fu Tian did not hesitate. He gathered the true essence in his hand and punched out. Bang! A golden fist flew out from Fu Tian's hand. At the same time, the third prince of the kingdom of the sacred dragon also moved. With a flash, he attacked the hotshot cultivator beside him. The hotshots looked at the third prince of the sacred dragon dynasty. A trace of fear appeared on his face. "Third prince, what's the matter with you? We don't want to fight with you, but you still want to kill us?" A hotshot cultivator was pressed to the ground by the third prince of the sacred dragon dynasty. He looked at the third prince of the sacred dragon dynasty in front of him and begged for mercy. Following that, the third prince of the kingdom of the sacred dragon ignored him. The true essence in his hand slowly gathered, and he placed one hand on the cultivator's forehead. "Aha!" The cultivator immediately let out a series of miserable cries. "Third prince, what are you doing?" Under the assault of the third prince of the sacred dragon dynasty, he felt that something in his body was slowly flowing away. At this moment, the third prince of the sacred dragon dynasty did not care about this cultivator. His body was covered in dark true essence, and his face was filled with a ferocious smile. Then, the third prince of the sacred dragon dynasty saw the cultivator in his hand faint. With a wave of his hand, the cultivator flew out. Seeing the cultivator on the ground unable to struggle, the third prince of the sacred dragon dynasty revealed a devilish smile. He raised his hands and continuously attacked the hotshots in front of him. At this moment, Fu Tian saw the third prince of the Holy Dragon dynasty's actions and his figure flashed. He arrived before the third prince of the sacred dragon dynasty and kicked him in the abdomen. The third prince of the sacred dragon dynasty crashed into a wall with a whoosh. Bang! The third prince of the Holy Dragon dynasty fell heavily to the ground after being hit by Fu Tian. There was still some blood flowing out of the corner of his mouth. Then, the true essence in his body slowly flew out and slowly poured into his abdomen. Under the effect of the black collar, the injuries on the third prince's body slowly recovered. Damn it! At this moment, Fu Tian cursed in his heart. This black collar was now attached to the third prince of the sacred dragon dynasty. Through him, he continuously absorbed the luck of the other hotshots. If he continued to rashly attack, it would only make him absorb the luck faster. As he thought about this, Fu Tian felt a little melancholy. His master must be looking at him now. He could not disappoint him. At this moment, on the floating island above the drunken immortal restaurant, his divine eyes looked at the third prince of the sacred dragon empire in the bronze mirror, and his expression slowly recovered. The black collar was actually called the Limitless Ring. It was a treasure bestowed by the sect master. They had specially asked him to come here to collect luck. If the infinite ring did not absorb enough luck, it would be difficult for him to report back. At this time, the infinite ring possessed the third prince of the sacred dragon dynasty and could be considered to be able to absorb the providence. Although this was different from his original plan, it was still a little better. The only hidden danger was this Fu Tian. That guy, that kick just now. When it was in the abdomen of the third prince of the sacred dragon dynasty, the infinite ring had to borrow the power of the floating island to resist. One had to know that the infinite ring itself was an immortal artifact. With its own intelligence, its strength was not weaker than his. With that thought in mind, his divine eyes slowly looked at Xiao Changteng. How did this person and his luck enter? In the eyes of the divine eye, This Futian must be some old monster who had cultivated for a long time. Moreover, he had to use some secret technique to enter the drunken immortal restaurant. Xiao Changtian had also taken a nap. He stretched and slowly stood up from his seat. Looking at the bronze mirror in front of him, most of the cultivators were lying on the ground. There was no way to move. Only Futian stood in front of everyone. There was another person. This is a black man? Xiao Changtian looked at the third prince of the Holy Dragon Dynasty standing in front of Futian and blurted out. In Xiao Changshan's eyes, there was not a single part of the third prince's body that wasn't black. It was exactly the same as the black people in his previous life. At this moment, the divine eye heard Xiao Changshan's words and walked over. He said to Xiao Changtan slowly, "Black man, what is that?" "No, I'm just saying." Xiao Changtian heard the divine eye's words and knew that he didn't have the confidence in front of everyone. What if someone found out about his past life in front of the Leaf Fire sect seniors? One had to know that transmigration was the biggest secret in the entire cultivation world. If he leaked it, those cultivators would definitely arrest him. He would study it like a lab rat. The divine eye heard Xiao Changshan's words and didn't say anything else. He only silently remembered the word black man. This was the first time he heard a meaningful word from Xiao Changtian. This person was really not simple. On the other hand, Di Tian, who was at the side, had a smile on his face when he heard Xiao Changshan's words. When he was in the courtyard, he had heard Xiao Changtian say some words that he didn't understand. However, every time he finished speaking, he would have a great understanding. This time around, Di Tian also believed that it wasn't an accident. Senior must be using some sort of powerful innate technique. Following that, everyone's gaze slowly turned towards the bronze mirror. At this moment, in the bronze mirror, Futian looked at the third prince of the Holy Dragon Dynasty in front of him. His figure flashed and appeared in front of him. True essence surged out of his hand and attacked the third prince of the Sacred Dragon Dynasty. The golden true essence wrapped around the third prince of the Sacred Dragon Dynasty, restricting his movements. At this moment, the third prince of the Sacred Dragon Dynasty also emitted waves of black mist, trying to break free. Chapter 476. You're making me smile, right? 1. Divine Realm, Drunken Immortal Restaurant. Futian looked at the third prince of the Holy Dragon Dynasty in front of him, and a fierce look flashed across his eyes. The true essence in his hand continued to expand, tightly binding the third prince of the Sacred Dragon Dynasty in front of him. Following that, Futian also extended his hand and waved it, suppressing the black gas on the third prince of the Holy Dragon Dynasty in front of him. While he was suppressing the third prince of the Sacred Dragon Dynasty, Futian also felt that the black collar was helping him resist his suppression. The source of this black collar's power was the fate of the third prince of the Sacred Dragon Dynasty. This third prince of the Sacred Dragon Dynasty was hopeless. "He'll go," Futian said in his heart. Then he felt a gust of wind pass by him. He slowly released the third prince of the Holy Dragon Dynasty and turned around to look. On the other side, waves of black qi had also risen from Qin Yun's body. Qin Yun panted heavily, and the black fog on his body continued to rise. "Can I still defeat you now?" Qin Yun looked at Futian and said malevolently. When Futian was fighting with the third prince of the Holy Dragon Dynasty, he had also absorbed a large amount of dark matter into his body. These dark substances also caused his aura to rise. "Look, this Qinjian's aura has soared by more than one level. I didn't think that he would take the initiative to absorb these things. Look at the third prince, there's something wrong with this dark substance." At this moment, some hotshots began to notice that something was wrong with the dark matter. At this moment, Futian also looked at Qin Yun. This fellow should have slapped him to death just now. He actually took the initiative to absorb the dark matter. Wasn't this just increasing the power of the black collar? As the true essence on Qin Yun's body continued to rise, the black collar hanging around the third prince's neck was also restless. With a swoosh, his body was about to fly out of the third prince's neck. Seeing that the black collar was trying to change its target, Futian's eyes turned sharp. He arrived in front of the third prince of the Sacred Dragon Dynasty and slowly pressed down on him with the true essence in his hand. It stopped the black collar from flying away. At this time, Qin Yun also wanted to attack Fu Tian. Bush, bush, bush. At this moment, the sword light condensed beside Qin Yun had already turned black. The speed of the sword was even faster than before, and it was about to attack Fu Tian. Seeing Qin Yun like this, Fu Tian also wanted to attack Qin Yun. Bang, bang, bang. The black sword light streaked across the air and instantly arrived beside Fu Tian. At this moment, a water curtain formed around Fu Tian. "Fellow Taoist, let me help you." Bai Yi's voice slowly sounded in Fu Tian's ears. Following that, Bai Yi's water screen, which was cast beside Fu Tian, blocked all the black sword rays. Bai Yi looked at Qin Yun in front of him. His figure flashed and arrived opposite him. The true essence in his body slowly rose and shot out water arrows at him. Bush, bush, bush. The water arrow collided with the black sword light, creating a series of explosions. "Bai Yi, you're courting death." Qin Yun looked at Bai Yi, who was blocking in front of him, and said angrily to her. Bai Yi didn't waste any time talking nonsense with Qin Yun and rushed towards Qin Yun. Then, the two figures attacked in the air. It seems that Bai Yi is still on young master's side. Now, we just have to see how young master deals with this black collar. At this moment, the hot shots had already arrived beside the white tiger. They discovered that by the side of the white tiger, it seemed as if they would not be affected by the battle at all. Seeing Bai Yi and Qin Yun fighting in the air, Fu Tian did not hesitate. Seeing that he had stopped the third prince of the sacred dragon dynasty, Fu Tian injected his vital essence into the gloves that Xiao Changtian had given him. He held the third prince's neck with both hands. Bang, bang, bang. The black collar and the boxing gloves on Fu Tian's hands collided, and white smoke was emitted. The surrounding black fog was slowly absorbed into it. It seemed that the gloves in Fu Tian's hands were still very effective against the black collar. At this moment, the white tiger slowly opened its eyes. "You still have some brains." The white tiger muttered to himself. Indeed, it could not be obtained by killing the third prince of the sacred dragon dynasty. Otherwise, it would only increase the strength of the black collar. If he used the gloves given by Xiao Changtian, he could still suppress the black collar's ability. It was naturally much easier to subdue him. At this moment, on the floating island above the drunken immortal restaurant, he looked at the bronze mirror in front of him. The black collar inside was trembling. It seemed like he was asking for help. What exactly was this pair of gloves? He was actually able to play such a big role that even the Wuji ring could not do anything to him? At this time, the divine eye also looked at Xiao Changtian and said with some resentment, "What is this pair of gloves made of?" Xiao Changtian was also a little stunned when he heard the divine eye's words. Did he forge these gloves on his own? What celestial artifact? He was just a mortal. How could he forge an immortal artifact? If that was the case, why did he have to be like this? He had tried it before. The things he forged did not have any spiritual power at all. As he thought about this, Xiao Changtian slowly said to the divine eye, "Senior, don't make fun of me. This is just a pair of boxing gloves that I casually forged. How can it be an immortal artifact? A real celestial artifact can shake the earth and destroy the world." At this moment, Xiao Changtian also told him his understanding of fairy weapons. Hearing Xiao Changshan's words, the divine eye was stunned. The earth shook and the mountains shook, destroying the heavens and earth? Do you think you are from the human realm upon heavens? How could such an immortal artifact come to this divine world? Even the Elysium was only working for one force in the human realm upon heavens. It was not considered a true force in the human realm upon heavens. This is what you're doing to make fun of me. Although the divine eye thought so, it didn't want to fight Xiao Changtian. Since Xiao Changtian knew about this celestial artifact, it seemed that he must have a powerful background. He thought that the main character this time was Di Tian. He didn't expect that his biggest enemy would always be this person who didn't have any aura. When the golden armored guards on the floating island heard Xiao Changshan's words, they all looked at each other. He looked at Xiao Changtian with fear in his eyes. Could this senior be a grandmaster? With that thought in mind, the golden armored guards looked at the divine eye and waited for his command. Chapter 477. Escape of the Divine Eye. 1. Divine Realm, Drunken Immortal Restaurant. The Futian glove grabbed the collar around the third prince's neck. After a while, the black collar was also pulled out from the sacred dragon dynasty's neck by Futian. Looking at the black collar in his hand, a faint smile flashed across Futian's lips. The test that his master had given him could be considered to be more or less completed. As the black collar was pulled out by Futian, the third prince of the Holy Dragon dynasty fell to the ground. The vitality in his body could no longer be seen, and his body quickly withered. Following that, Futian also looked up into the sky. After the black collar was grabbed by Futian, the dark substance around Qin Yun also disappeared rapidly. At this moment, Qin Yun's body also felt waves of weakness. Then, under everyone's gaze, Qin Yun smiled at Bai Yi. "Let's die together." Qin Jian Pavilion had sent him here to help him seize the opportunity. He would obtain a chance to reach the divine gate. He did not expect that all of this would be ruined by Futian. As Kling Yun said this, his figure also flew towards Bai Yi. Then, under everyone's gaze, Qin Yun's figure and the white dress intertwined. Not good. Seeing Qin Yun's actions, Futian frowned. Qin Yun was burning his true essence, wanting to forcefully perish together with Bai Yi. In the air, Qin Yun grabbed Bai Yi's arm and said to him crazily, "Since you want to help that kid, then let's die together." As he spoke, Qin Yun also absorbed the few dark substances around him into his body. As the dark substance entered his body, Qin Yun's body also expanded violently. Bai Yi looked at Qin Yun in front of her, and fear began to appear on her face. If he was hit by the explosion at such a close distance, he would definitely lose his life. At this moment, some of the hotshots below also began to cover their eyes. Looking at Bai Yi in the air, he sighed. It seemed that another fairy was about to die. Xing Yun's body slowly expanded and was about to explode. At this moment, a golden light flew over from afar. It was blocked between Bai Yi and Qin Yun. Bang! Qin Yun's body was hit by the golden light, and his figure was also sent flying. Then, in midair, Qin Yun's body also turned into a stream of light and exploded. Under everyone's gaze, Futian slowly hugged Bai Yi, who was in midair. Bang! The aftershock from Qin Yun's Bodis explosion continued to spread in the air. The hotshots below also raised their arms to block their faces. Then, Futian's figure slowly landed on the ground. At this moment, Futian's figure slowly landed on the ground. Bai Yi lay in Futian's arms, her face flushed. At the same time, on the floating island above the restaurant, the divine eye saw that the black collar in the bronze mirror had been subdued, and the third prince of the sacred dragon dynasty was slowly falling to the ground. Qin Yun, who had already self-destructed, also waved his hand. Immediately, the light in the bronze mirror began to dim. Then, under everyone's gaze, the true essence in the divine eye's hand shook. Bang! 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 The entire floating island suddenly shook violently. He could feel the change sun the floating island. Xiao Changtian also grabbed the chairs around him. Just now, he saw a flash of inspiration. Then he felt the entire island shake. Di Tian, who was behind Xiao Changtian, sensed the changes on the island. The true energy in his hands slowly gathered. He stabilized his body and looked at the divine eye in front of him. What was this divine eye up to? Then he saw Xiao Changtian standing in front of him, his expression still calm. He also relaxed a little in his heart. Senior was not in a hurry. There should be no problem. The entire theater shook, and then Xiao Changtian felt his vision go black. Bush, bush, bush. In front of the square of the Drunken Immortal Restaurant, a group of cultivators saw a few streams of light fly past them. After that, the silhouettes of Xiao Changtian, Di Tian and the others slowly appeared in their sights. Returning to the square, Xiao Changtian looked around in shock. They were just on the island. Why did they come down all of a sudden? Was the test over? Xiao Changtian remembered that he had seen Futian hugging a woman in the bronze mirror. Little brat, I didn't expect that I would have such a romantic affinity with him when I asked him to participate in the test. He still wanted to see what was going on, so he returned to the original place. It seemed that after he came out, he would have to ask him. Now was the best time to enter the Li Fire sect. He did not want to mess it up. After that, Xiao Changtian glanced at his surroundings as he spoke to Di Tian. Di Tian, is this test over? When Di Tian heard Xiao Changshan's words, his expression froze as well. Shouldn't he ask his senior what had happened? Could it be that senior was telling him some information? Seeing that Di Tian didn't reply, Xiao Changtian also waved his hand. Thinking about it, it made sense. Di Tian was just a small cultivator who had just entered the sect. How did he know what had just happened? Now, he could only wait for the Li Fire sect's notification. Then, Xiao Changtian looked around, trying to find Hualing, but she had disappeared. It seemed that the holy maiden of the Li Fire sect had also gone to rank the examinees. He hoped that Futian could successfully enter the Li Fire sect on his own. In this way, he could be considered to have fulfilled one of his wishes. At the same time, in the Drunken Immortal restaurant, the white tiger, who was sitting on the ground, slowly stood up and looked into the deep sky. Then, he slowly transmitted his voice to Futian. "Kid, this place is basically done. Let's go." When the floating island above the Drunken Immortal restaurant disappeared just now, he had also felt it. That group of people schemed against Master's disciples. Could they still let them escape? As soon as he finished speaking, the white tiger also slapped forward. Then the entire Drunken Immortal restaurant exploded. Bang! A crack appeared in front of the hotshots. When those cultivators saw the crack, they all rushed towards him. Following that, on the square of the Drunken Immortal restaurant, the group of hotshots slowly saw the figures of cultivators descending from the sky. Seeing the hotshots that his faction had brought over fall to the ground, he could not help but sigh. Those cultivators also went up to welcome him. How was it? Did you get anything this time? Does the gate of heaven really exist? Where were the others? Why are you the only ones out? The old servant from the Sacred Dragon Dynasty also stood beside the dragon carriage and observed the crowd, trying to find the third prince. Chapter 478. Futian leaves the Drunken Immortal in 1v7 Divine Realm. Above the square of the Drunken Immortal restaurant a golden light flashed. Then, with a whoosh, a figure appeared in midair. There was still a trace of panic on the figure's face. It was the Divine Eye who had escaped from the floating island. The Divine Eye stood in midair. Following that, a few figures appeared behind him. It was the Golden Guard who had left the island with the Divine Eye. Looking at the Golden Guard behind him, the Divine Eye said to him, "Did you bring her here?" The Divine Eye had used the space array on the floating island when it used its great divine ability. He separated Xiao Changtian and Di Tian from himself. He didn't know Xiao Changshan's strength, so he didn't dare to fight him. However, after consuming the power on the floating island would be closed for a period of time. As soon as the Divine Eye finished speaking, one of the two golden guards behind him also joined in. It was the Metal Emperor who had been in the hall earlier. Looking at the Metal Emperor, several pairs of divine eyes also looked at him. A few rays of golden light entered the Metal Emperor's body. Then, the Metal Emperor's tightly shut eyes slowly opened. He straightened his body and walked toward the Divine Eye with a dull gaze. "Go and call your other 4 brothers over." When the Metal Emperor heard the Divine Eye's words, he did not hesitate at all. He placed his hand on his mouth and let out a sharp cry. Then, a few streaks of light flew over from afar. They were the Wood Emperor, Water Emperor, Fire Emperor, and Earth Emperor. When he saw who it was, a smile appeared on his face. With a wave of his hand, the Metal Emperor and the others stood side by side. The Divine Eyes looked at them and slowly said, "You guys, I have good news to tell you. You used to kill your master, Di Tian. Now you are below. Your mission is simple. That is, go down and cripple him for me." As he spoke, the Divine Eye's face was rippling with an indifferent smile. When the Metal Emperor and the others heard Di Tian's words, their bodies trembled slightly. After this subtle movement was discovered by the Divine Eye also smiled at them and slowly said, "Oh, you're still so excited in front of your former master. It's a good thing, a good thing. Work hard. I'm looking forward to your performance more and more." The Divine Eye's laughter echoed in the air. The three pairs of eyes that were staring at the Metal Emperor and the Wood Emperor also shone brightly with golden light. Then, the Metal Emperor and the others quieted down once again with the wave of the divine eye. He flew down. At this moment, the square in front of the Drunken Immortal restaurant was already in a mess. The leaders of those factions saw that the hot shots of their factions had not come out for a long time. There was a wave of anxiety in their hearts. He also said some dejected words in the square. Someone must have harmed our hot shots. Otherwise, with their talent, even if they didn't gain anything, they wouldn't have died inside. Yes, it's impossible. Someone must have ambushed you. A group of cultivators chattered on in the square. At this moment, a loud and clear voice sounded in the square. Stop talking. Where's my sworn brother Qingyun? Why didn't he come out? When everyone heard this voice, they also looked towards the center of the square. At this moment, Azure Peak looked at the people in the square with a cold gaze. Qin Yun carried the hope of increasing the overall strength of the Green Sword Pavilion. If he died in there, and if he didn't know what happened, it would be difficult for him to explain when he went back. While everyone was silent, another elderly voice slowly sounded from the square. And my third prince, why haven't I seen him? Bang. The old servant from the kingdom of the sacred dragon stood in midair with Azure Peak. For a moment, the auras of the two utmost powerful beings made the cultivators in the square somewhat breathless. Looking at the two figures above, some of the hot shots began to stammer. They had already been defeated by young master inside. What? Upon hearing this cultivator's words, the old servant from the kingdom of the sacred dragon and Azure Peak turned to look at him. What nonsense are you talking about? The third prince and our Green Cloud disciples are both outstanding figures among everyone. Is there anyone who can defeat them? The elders of the Green Sword Pavilion stared in the direction of the hot shots with sharp gazes. That's right. The two of them are both geniuses. How can they be defeated? The cultivators around the Sword Pavilion also echoed. Facing so many people's questions, the hotshot cultivator was also under immense pressure. It's true. After that prince and Qin Yun got the black collar, they didn't hit the young master. Black collar? At this moment, when he heard the hotshot cultivator's words, Azure Peak stared at him and asked. The black collar, was that the spiritual weapon for the test of the Drunken Immortal restaurant? It was a powerful divine artifact or even an immortal artifact. A voice slowly sounded in the air when he was asked this question again. Look, there are people coming out. Everyone followed the voice of that cultivator and looked over. Fu Tian carried a white cat in his arms and slowly walked out of the Drunken Immortal restaurant. Seeing Fu Tian, the cultivator pointed at him and said slowly to Azure Peak and the old servant from the Sacred Dragon Dynasty, Look, young master is out. Seeing that Fu Tian was safe and sound, the other cultivators present heaved a sigh of relief. After all, Fu Tian had saved their lives before, so they naturally hoped that he would be safe. What? Isn't this the one who walked in from the beginning? You're not telling me that he was the one who defeated the third prince and Qin Yun, right? He definitely wouldn't tell me that the black collar is on him. When he spoke, Azure Peak also had a murderous aura. Seeing Azure Peak's appearance, the nearby hotshots also looked at him. With a fearful expression, she nodded at him. Pumph. Azure Peak snorted coldly and waved his sleeve. A powerful aura spread out from his body. Following that, the voice of the old servant from the Sacred Dragon Dynasty rang out in everyone's ears. So that girl from the Flowing Cloud sect is here too. After saying this, the old servant from the kingdom of the Sacred Dragon was the same as Azure Peak. A powerful aura spread out from his body as he flew in Fu Tian's direction. Behind Fu Tian, Bai Yi slowly appeared in everyone's line of sight. Azure Peak and the old servant from the kingdom of the Sacred Dragon came before Fu Tian and Bai Yi and said slowly, Drifting Cloud Sect girl, what did you get inside? Chapter 479. Why aren't you Scram? 1. Divine Realm, on the square of the Drunken Immortal restaurant Azure Peak and the old servant from the kingdom of the Sacred Dragon stood in front of Fu Tian and Bai. 2 waves of pressure descended on their bodies. At this moment, a clear female voice slowly sounded in everyone's ears. Io, You guys actually want to make things difficult for the weak women of our flowing cloud sect. The reputation of the Sacred Dragon Empire and the Azure Sword Pavilion is ruined. As soon as he finished speaking, a woman in blue clothes slowly appeared in front of Futian and Bai. Azure Peak cupped his fists at her upon seeing this figure. Fairy Lianshui, in the test of the Drunken Immortal Restaurant, if your flowing cloud sect wins the treasure fairly, we naturally have nothing to say. But now, my sworn brother Qin Yun is still missing. Azure Peak pointed at the old servant from the Sacred Dragon Dynasty beside him as he spoke. There's also no sign of the third prince of the Sacred Dragon Empire. Our hot shots have disappeared for such a long time. Naturally, there's a reason to suspect that this girl colluded with others to frame them. Azure Peak was also staring at Futian and Bai Yi as he spoke. The old servant from the kingdom of the Sacred Dragon nodded in agreement. He looked like he didn't want to tolerate it at all. Seeing Azure Peak and the Sacred Dragon Dynasty's old servant like this, Fairy Lianshui also chuckled. His hand gently brushed across his face as he began to calculate in his heart. If she were to deal with either Azure Peak or the old servant from the Sacred Dragon Dynasty by herself, that could be dealt with, but if the two of them joined forces to attack, it would be difficult for him to leave with Bai Yi today. He looked at Azure Peak and the old servant from the Sacred Dragon Dynasty who were blocking his escape route. Fairy Lianshui also sent a voice transmission to Bai Yi. You did well this time. I promised you that I wouldn't leave you out when I returned to the sect. At this moment, everyone present thought that the treasure of the Drunken Immortal Restaurant was with Bai Yi. When Bai Yi received Fairy Lianshui's voice transmission, his face was filled with joy. The purpose of her coming to the Drunken Immortal Restaurant this time was to save her sect in the lower realm. However, if she returned this time, she would not obtain anything from the Drunken Immortal Restaurant. It was probably not going to end well. With this thought in mind, Fairy Lianshui's voice transmission rang out in her mind again. Wait for my hand signal and I will take you away. Fairy Lianshui slowly descended from the sky after she finished speaking. Arriving on the ground, Fairy Lianshui chuckled at Azure Peak and the old servant from the Sacred Dragon Dynasty. If that's the case, why don't you two come down and talk? In midair, Azure Peak and the old servant of the Saint Dragon Dynasty heard Fairy Lianshui's words. They looked at each other and landed on the ground below. When they landed, Azure Peak's voice slowly sounded in Fairy Lianshui's ears. Fairy Lianshui, I advise you not to waste your energy. When Fairy Lianshui heard Azure Peak's words, she also stopped condensing the true essence on her palm behind her. He looked around. Her path of retreat had been blocked by the men of Green Sword Pavilion. As for their flowing cloud sex spirit ship, it was also tied down by the Sacred Dragon Empire and could not come over. At this moment, Fairy Lianshui also smiled at Azure Peak. Qin Feng Holy Sun is really cautious. As she spoke, Fairy Lianshui's face revealed a grave expression. At this moment, a loud voice sounded in everyone's ears. Fian, how was it? Did you pass the test? Following this voice, everyone saw something in the crowd. Xiao Changtian slowly walked toward Futian. Behind Xiao Changtian, Di Tian and the others also slowly followed. When they saw Xiao Changtian, Di Tian and the others who suddenly appeared, Fairy Lianshui, Azure Peak, and the third prince of the Saint Dynasty were all stunned. Who are these people? Seeing Xiao Changtian walking over, Futian said to him slowly, Master, I didn't complete the test well. It's all thanks to Little White's help. As he spoke, the white tiger jumped out of Futian's arms and came to Xiao Changshan's side. Seeing the white tiger by his feet, Xiao Changtian also picked her up. Looking at the white tiger, Xiao Changtian said slowly, You cat, you really run around. Hearing that Futian had passed the test, Xiao Changtian was very happy. It seemed that Futian was very confident that he could join the Li Fire sect. Azure Peak and the old servant from the kingdom of the Sacred Dragon were also a little disdainful after hearing Xiao Changshan's words. Futian and the others naturally knew that it was the kid who walked in. There was no aura on this person's body. It was not bad to be his master. He even said that he had passed the test. He really knew how to brag. At this moment, Azure Peak said to Xiao Chang'an, The few of you, leave quickly. It was just a few mortals. Azure Peak did not take it to heart. Let them leave first and not get in the way here. If there was a problem, the few mortals would be able to find it very quickly. Bai Yi, on the other hand, could not show any flaws just because she attacked them. Otherwise, it would be difficult for him to deal with it when the time came. Hearing Azure Peak's unreasonable words, Futian was also furious. He took a step forward and slowly said to Azure Peak, "What did you just say?" Then, Xiao Changtian walked up and patted Futian's shoulder. "Fellow Taoists, isn't it inappropriate to speak like this? This place was not owned by his family. He was fine here. Don't tell me you can leave just like that." While saying that, Xiao Changtian also performed his usual martial arts posture. The opponents were Xiaxinus, so he couldn't be careless. After seeing Xiao Changshan's casual actions, Qing Feng and the old servant from the Sacred Dragon Dynasty were shocked. They all swallowed their saliva. But they seemed to have seen it on their sect master. And it seemed that Xiao Changshan's was even more profound. What was going on? Could it be that I'm seeing things? Looking at Xiao Changtun, Azure Peak, the old servant from the Sacred Dragon Dynasty, and Lianshui Fairy, they were all in disbelief. Then, in the minds of Azure Peak and the old servant from the Sacred Dragon Dynasty, a huge figure slowly appeared. In their minds, the huge figure of the white tiger stood in the air. He looked down at them with a vast pressure. Seeing the white tiger in front of them, Azure Peak and the old servant from the Sacred Dragon Dynasty trembled in fear. He did not dare to move too much and said with a trembling mouth, Is this a white tiger? Get lost." The white tiger didn't answer them directly. Instead, it responded with a majestic roar. Chapter 480. Futian, go and welcome them. 1. Divine Realm, on the square in front of the Drunken Immortal restaurant following the white tiger's roar, Azure Peak and the old servant from the Sacred Dragon Dynasty also broke free from their spiritual world. Azure Peak and the old servant from the Sacred Dragon Dynasty looked at Xiao Changtian in front of them, their eyes filled with fear. What did they see just now? That was the divine white tiger. At this moment, Xiao Changtian said to Azure Peak and the others, "Why aren't you saying anything?" Hearing Xiao Changshan's words, Azure Peak and the old servant from the kingdom of the Sacred Dragon quivered. Then he slowly said to Xiao Chang'an, "Senior, let's get out of here right now." As they spoke, Azure Peak and the old servant from the kingdom of the Sacred Dragon felt apprehensive. He hurriedly tried to escape. Seeing their expressions, Xiao Changtian continued, "Did I tell you to get lost?" Xiao Changtian remembered that he didn't say anything just now. Why did these two people say that they wanted to get lost? Could it be that he felt that he was in the wrong and was too embarrassed to stay here? Hearing Xiao Changshan's words, Azure Peak and the old servant from the kingdom of the Sacred Dragon stopped in their tracks. She felt like crying in her heart. He looked at Xiao Changtian and waited for his punishment. At this moment he didn't dare to anger Xiao Changtian. When Lian Shui saw Qing Feng and the old servant from the Sacred Dragon Dynasty, she was also a little stunned. These two people were not like this when they dealt with her. Could it be that this person? Looking at Xiao Changtian, Fairy Lianshui's expression changed. Then he looked at Futian, who was standing beside Xiao Changtian. Could it be that it was really as those hotshots had said? This person had passed the test and defeated the third prince of the Sacred Dragon Dynasty and Qin Yun. As she thought this, Fairy Lianshui also turned to look at Bai Yi. Bai Yi felt Fairy Lianshui's gaze and nodded slightly at her. At this moment he understood what Fairy Lianshui meant. Furthermore, she had helped Futian back then because she wanted to help her sect through him. At this time he had to make up his mind. Xiao Changtian looked at Azure Peak and the old servant from the Sacred Dragon Dynasty, who were still standing in front of him. He also continued to say to them, "You guys can do whatever you want." The way they stood up just now was like a child who had done something wrong. Since they knew they were wrong, he could not embarrass them too much. After hearing Xiao Changshan's words, Azure Peak and the old servant from the Sacred Dragon Dynasty were relieved. With a flash, he waved his hand behind him. Following which, the soldiers of the Azure Sword Pavilion and the Sacred Dragon Empire left with them. At this moment, Fairy Lianshui also slowly came to Xiao Changshan's side. he said slowly to Futian, who was beside him, "Fellow Taoist, you must have passed the test together with Bai Yi in the Drunken Immortal restaurant, right?" At this time, the fairy of rippling water was only trying her best to get Bai Yi to have some sort of relationship with them. After all, she didn't dare to make a move. Even Azure Peak and the old servants of the Sacred Dragon Dynasty retreated in fright. His strength was about the same as theirs. How could they dare to fight him? Xiao Changtian saw Fairy Lianshui walking towards him and smiled at him. He had seen it in the bronze mirror before. Fu Tian was hugging the white-robed woman beside him. It seemed like they had a good relationship. Then he said slowly to Fairy Lianshui, "Fu Tian passed the test together with your disciple. It's fate." The reason why this beautiful cultivator said that was because she was afraid that her own cultivator would be kidnapped. However, when he saw Fuxian's appearance, he was shocked. He must be very satisfied with this woman in white. He had to help his disciple. Xiao Changtian was observing Fairy Lianshui's changes. Fairy Lianshui heard Xiao Changshan's words and was delighted. Since Xiao Changtian had said so, did that mean that the Drunken Immortal still had their opportunities? After all, Xiao Changtian had no intention of rejecting them. With this thought in mind, Fairy Lianshui also looked towards Bai Yi. At this time, Bai Yi wanted to build a good relationship with them. This was also a good thing for their Flowing Cloud sect. The white-robed fairy could feel the gaze of the rippling water fairy and nodded at him. It seemed that his decision back then was right. Following Futian was also a chance to save his sect. Seeing Bai Yi nod, Fairy Lianshui smiled at her. With a swoosh, he flew towards the spirit ship at the Flowing Cloud sect. After Fairy Lianshui left, 5 figures flew over the square of the Drunken Immortal restaurant. Bush, bush, bush. 5 figures stood in the air and swept their gazes below. He also looked in the direction of Xiao Changtian and the others. Upon seeing Di Tian, the Metal Emperor's body trembled slightly. Then, a golden light flashed in his eyes. He then flew towards Di Tian. "Wow, it's the Golden Emperor. I've finally seen him in person. Is Lord Metal Emperor here to give a reward? Could it be that he's from the Heavenly Gates?" Seeing the Metal Emperor's figure appear, the hot shots below whispered to each other. His face and heart were also very excited. On the other hand, Di Tian, who was at the side, had a complicated expression on his face when he saw the Metal Emperor. He had clearly sensed a killing intent in the eyes of the Metal Emperor and the others earlier. What was going on? Could it be that the Metal Emperor had really joined the Elysium and was coming to deal with him? There was also the Wood Emperor, Water Emperor, Fire Emperor, Earth Emperor, and the others behind him. When he saw her, he also looked like he didn't care. And behind Di Tian, the Ice Emperor and the Devil Emperor had looks of fury on their faces when they saw the actions of the Metal Emperor. He also wanted to welcome them and have a good fight with the Metal Emperor. At this moment, Di Tian grabbed their arms. Looking at them, there should be something wrong. Seeing him, it was not to the extent of not saying a word. He should see how Senior would deal with it. If there was anything strange about them, only Senior could resolve it. At this moment, Di Tian also turned to look at Xiao Changtian. Xiao Changtian looked at the Metal Emperor flying towards him. He was also a little excited. He had vaguely heard those cultivators discussing just now. This person seemed to be a big shot. It seemed that they were here to look for him. In that case, Futian had really been chosen. With this thought in mind, Xiao Changtian waved his hand at Futian. "Futian, why don't you go up and welcome them?" Hearing Xiao Changshan's words, Futian also nodded at him. "All right, master." Chapter 481. Taiji Fist, 1. Divine Realm. On the square in front of the Drunken Immortal restaurant, Fu Tian looked at the Metal Emperor flying towards him. Just as he was about to attack, a voice slowly sounded in Fuxian's mind. "Brat, Master is cultivating his heart in the mortal world. Let me do it." Hearing this voice, Fu Tian also stopped the gathering of true essence in his body. Then, the chaos ant slowly poked its head out from Xiao Changshan's shoulder. Looking at the 5 people in the air, the silver light on the 2 antennae flashed. A spatial fluctuation flashed across the world. Spatial imprisonment. Under everyone's gaze, the Metal Emperor, the Wood Emperor and the other three landed in front of Xiao Changtian and the others. As their figures landed on the ground, the Metal Emperor and the others stared at Di Tian with wooden eyes, wanting to attack him as well. However, no matter how hard he struggled, his body could not move forward at all. Seeing the Metal Emperor and the others land beside him, Xiao Changshan's face lit up. It seemed that they were here to welcome Futian. With this thought in mind, Xiao Changtian also wanted to walk over and talk to them. "Senior." At this moment, a sweet female voice slowly sounded in Xiao Changshan's ears. Xiao Changtian heard this voice and stopped in his tracks. He turned around and saw Hualing slowly walking over. Seeing Hualing, Xiao Changtian waved at him. He was facing so many cultivators from the fire sect alone. To be honest, he was still a little nervous about giving Futian to them as a disciple. With Hualing as an acquaintance, Xiao Changtian was naturally very happy. Hualing came to Xiao Changshan's side and covered her chest. Hualing breasts moved up and down as she said to Xiao Chang'an, "Senior, I finally found you." After Hualing disappeared from the floating island, her strength was still weak. They were also assigned to other places in the square. With the Li Fire sect's strength, they wanted to find Xiao Changshan's position in this vast crowd. It was easier said than done. Hualing bumped into the crowd and finally saw Xiao Changtian. Seeing Hualing, Xiao Changtian asked her slowly, "Miss Hualing, is there any rule for the Li Fire sect to accept disciples who pass the test?" Hualing found Xiao Changtian and was delighted. Hearing Xiao Changshan's words, he was stunned. Senior was indeed unfathomable. He even knew that the Li Fire sect was going to open up outer sect disciples to enter the inner sect. Hualing said to Xiao Changtian slowly, "Senior, when the Li Fire sect accepts disciples, they naturally first need the disciples to demonstrate their strength so that they can choose a master." The biggest difference between Li Fire sect inner sect disciples and outer sect disciples was that they were all disciples of the Li Fire sect. Every inner sect disciple had their own unique master. Hearing Hualing words, Xiao Changtian placed his hand under his chin. Then he took a step forward and did a horse stance. Waving his arms in the air, he displayed the authentic Taiji fist in the air. Bush, bush, bush. Di Tian and the others stared at Xiao Changtian as they held their breaths. Is Senior using a spirit skill? In their eyes, Xiao Changshan's every move was natural. Every time his arms swept through the air, they could feel the spiritual energy in the air slowly flowing. At this moment, Xiao Changtian seemed to have become the master of the world. This is a peerless intent realm, but even with my eyesight I can't see through it. To be able to see such a true intent, we can die without regrets. On the square, the Tao protectors of the hotshots were all attracted by Xiao Changshan's actions. Some of the powerful guardians looked at Xiao Changtian with tears in their eyes. Only they themselves knew that those true intents were the power of Heavenly Tao. Heavenly Tao was one of the most mysterious and unfathomable powers. He did not expect that someone in the divine realm actually grasped it. It seemed that this person was the person from the Heavenly Gate in the Drunken Immortal restaurant. The reward for these surviving hotshots was this heaven's will. Have you remembered it? This is an opportunity, an opportunity. A Tao protector looked at the hotshot cultivator beside him and urged. Those hotshots cultivators themselves carried the luck of a world. When Xiao Changtian waved it, they also felt it. At this moment, everyone was focused on Xiao Changtian. In the air, the divine eye also saw Xiao Changshan's movements. This is impossible, impossible. The divine eye said in disbelief. How could the power of the heavenly Tao appear on a mortal's body? That's a power that even the sect master has to look up to. Impossible. As he spoke, the divine eye involuntarily took a few steps back. At this moment, Xiao Changtian was also concentrating on his Taiji fist. He punched the sky with both fists, and then his hands slowly landed on his abdomen. Bang, bang, bang. The moment Xiao Changtian swung his fist, the divine eye in the air also widened its pupils. Bang. Then, the divine eye spat out a mouthful of blood. His body fell backward. Seeing the divine eye's appearance, the few golden-armored guards hurriedly walked over. He supported the Divine Eye with both hands. Divine Eye Elder, are you all right? Take me away quickly. This person can't be my enemy. Looking down at Xiao Changtan, he clutched his chest and said to the golden armored guard. He couldn't tell if Xiao Changtian was human or something else. When the golden armored guard heard the Divine Eye's words, he hurriedly brought him away. Although they didn't see Xiao Changshan's movements, they were still shocked. However, he could also feel a powerful aura surging between heaven and earth. They had come to the divine world a few times. This time, they must have been cursed. After Divine Eye and the others left, Xiao Changtian slowly exhaled. Then he slowly said to Hualing behind him, Miss Hualing, what do you think of this Taiji Fist? Taiji Fist didn't have any particularly powerful power. However, it was really good to use it to maintain one's health. Xiao Changtian had no choice. The system had not given him any spirit skills for so many years. This Taiji Fist was already the best Wu technique that he could teach Futian. He just didn't know if he was showing off in front of these cultivators. Hualing was still immersed in Xiao Changshan's fist technique. Hearing Xiao Changshan's words, he didn't react. Xiao Changtian saw that everyone was staring at him, so he walked to the side. He was only performing Taiji Fist. Was there a need to stare at him? Moreover, this group of cultivators probably wouldn't put Taiji Fist in their eyes. As he thought about this, Xiao Changtian heard Hualing voice. Chapter 482. Who is senior? Is he someone you can deal with? _L Divine Realm. On the square in front of the drunken immortal restaurant, Xiao Changtian looked at Hualing in front of him and waved his hand at Futian. Pointing at Futian beside him, Xiao Changtian said to Hualing slowly, Miss Hualing, the Taiji Fist I just performed is one of the moves of Futian society. What do you think? Futian came to Xiao Changshan's side. After hearing Xiao Changshan's words, he was deep in thought. His humanoid book had not broken through for a long time, and he did not have any direction to break through. After seeing Xiao Changshan's Taiji Fist, he vaguely found a direction. Hualing was at a loss when she heard Xiao Changshan's words. The Taiji Fist that Xiao Changtian had just displayed was the most profound fist technique that she had ever seen in her life. With her eyesight, how could she possibly understand this set of fist techniques? Then Hualing slowly said to Xiao Changtian, Senior, this fist technique is extremely profound. After thinking for a while, Hualing could only say this. Hearing Hualing words, Xiao Changtian was also delighted. He continued to ask her slowly, Then Miss Hualing, can Futian join your Li Fire sect? Hualing was stunned when she heard that Xiao Changtian wanted Futian to join the Li Fire sect as a disciple. Then he raised his hands and waved at Xiao Changtian. Could this senior be joking with him? With the Li Fire sect's strength, how could they possibly teach a senior's disciple? When the other cultivators heard Xiao Changshan's words, they also looked at Hualing. Even Di Tian, who was more familiar with Xiao Changtian, couldn't see through him at this moment. When Xiao Changtian first followed the Li Fire sect, he thought that he was hiding his identity. But now, it seemed that this was not the case. Could it be that there was something in the Li Fire sect that they did not know about? At this moment, the cultivators present also remembered the Li Fire sect in their hearts. At the very least, they knew that the Li Fire sect had befriended a powerful senior. Xiao Changtian saw Hualing waving at him. What? Was this telling him that Futian was unqualified? With this thought in mind, he continued to speak to Hualing. Miss Hualing, are you sure? Hualing nodded without hesitation. How could she dare to tell Xiao Changtian that she wanted Futian to take her in as a disciple of the Li Fire sect? If she were to say that their Li Fire sect had held up someone else's disciple, how would they explain it? Xiao Changtian saw Hualing nodding and sighed in his heart. It seemed that Miss Hualing was also taking care of her face in front of everyone just now. Taiji Fist is extremely profound. But in fact, Taiji Fist was a fist technique for health preservation. They did not have any offensive power at all, so how could they be valued by the Li Fire sect? Sigh, it seemed like there was no hope for Futian to enter the Li Fire sect. With that thought in mind, Xiao Chang did not blame Hualing for anything. He merely glanced at her before bringing Futian towards Di Tian and the others. After all, This was understandable. The cultivation world was filled with fighting and killing. Taiji Fist did not have much power, so it was normal for them to look down on it. Then, Xiao Changtian slowly said to Futian, "Futian, do you want to enter the Leaf Fire sect?" Hearing Xiao Changshan's words, Futian replied without hesitation, "Futian only wants to follow Master forever." Seeing Futian's innocent face, he did not hesitate at all. Xiao Changtian didn't have any other thoughts. This Futian was different from the others. They all thought about how to cultivate. He was all-powerful in the cultivation world. However, Futian wanted to follow him and wait for death. After arriving at Di Tian's side, Xiao Changtian slowly spoke, "Di Tian, we're going back now." Since there was no hope for Futian to join the Leaf Fire sect, he did not want to continue staying among this group of cultivators. When Di Tian heard Xiao Changshan's words, he also slowly spoke, "Senior, I still have some things to deal with." Staring at the Metal Emperor and the others before him, Di Tian didn't want to leave with Xiao Changtian. Xiao Changtian followed Di Tian's gaze and sighed. He patted Di Tian's shoulder. Wasn't Di Tian looking at the seniors of the Leaf Fire sect? Di Tian had his own fortuitous encounters to fight for. He didn't want to disturb him. Then, Xiao Changtian left the square with Futian. On the square, wherever Xiao Changtian passed, the cultivators looked at him with great respect and made way for him. However, Xiao Changtian didn't notice this at all. If Futian failed to take him as his master, he would have suffered a great loss this time. After Xiao Changtian left, the cultivators looked at each other. Did you see that? When Senior left, he seemed to be unhappy. That's right. Could it be that Senior has some wish that he can't fulfill? As he spoke, everyone's eyes were also looking at the Drunken Immortal building. There was a crack in the Drunken Immortal restaurant. It was said that it was caused by Senior's disciple. Senior's disciple was ambushed by the Sacred Dragon Empire and the Green Sword Pavilion in the Drunken Immortal restaurant. Moreover, Azure Peak and the old servant from the Sacred Dragon Dynasty had spoken rudely to him just now. Senior, could it be? With this thought in mind, everyone turned their gazes towards the forces of the Green Sword Pavilion and the Sacred Dragon Dynasty. Senior just gave us a great opportunity. Everyone knows what to do, right? At that moment, some voices slowly sounded from the crowd. At this moment, the prestige of the Sacred Dragon Empire and the Azure Sword Pavilion could no longer suppress them. The old servant from the Sacred Dragon Dynasty and Azure Peak looked at the cultivators who were slowly approaching them. At this moment, his expression was solemn as he stared at them and slowly said, "What are you doing?" "Senior just let us go." If they were to face one of them alone, they could win completely. However, facing so many forces, they had no chance of winning. At this moment, a guardian slowly said to the two of them, "What are you talking about? Senior let you off, but we didn't say we would let you off." As they spoke, those cultivators wanted to attack Azure Peak and the others. Who is Senior? Is he someone you can deal with? Following that, the cries of the cultivators of the Green Sword Pavilion and the Sacred Dragon Dynasty could be heard from the square. At this moment, on Xiao Changshan's shoulder, the Chaos Ant's two antennae also flashed with silver light. Following that, the Metal Emperor and the others who were standing on the plaza felt the spatial energy that was restraining them slowly dissipate. Their bodies regained their freedom. At this moment, their eyes had already regained their clarity as they stared at Di Tian. Their gazes flickered as they knelt down in unison. Chapter 483. Returning to the Tianyuan continent, 1. Divine Realm, the square in front of the Drunken Immortal restaurant behind Di Tian. The Ice Emperor looked at the Golden Emperor and the others who were kneeling before him. Her body trembled slightly as she glanced at the May Empress. When the May Empress heard Di Tian's words, she also waved her hands in front of her chest. Bush, bush, bush. The May Empress' hands kept changing. Then, purple flowers flew out. The violet flower emitted a burst of white light, enveloping Di Tian and them within. Then, everyone saw Di Tian and the Metal Emperor disappear from the square. At this moment, those cultivators also stopped attacking the Green Sword Pavilion and the Sacred Dragon Dynasty. If I remember correctly, That technique just now was something that only the May Empress of the Divine Court had. And the Metal Emperor and the others just now. Were they the 10 great generals of the Divine Court just now? The 10 great generals of the Divine Court have gathered. The Divine Court is about to appear? Since Xiao Changtian had just used the Taiji fist, most of their attention was on him. He didn't pay much attention to the Metal Emperor and the others who came down first. Now that he had seen the May Empress methods, he understood something. Could it be that this rumor was true? The reincarnation of the Lord of the Divine Court and the gathering of the 10 great generals? The Divine Court was about to reappear in the world? Those cultivators looked at the space where Di Tian had just disappeared, and their hearts were already filled with shock. Fairy Lianshui's chest heaved up and down as she slowly exhaled. What happened today had a huge impact on her. A powerful senior from the Divine Court. She found it difficult to accept all of this. At this moment, Fairy Lianshui looked at Bai Yi and said slowly, "How is your relationship with that senior's disciple in the Drunken Immortal restaurant?" What happened in the Drunken Immortal restaurant? When Bai Yi heard Fairy Lianshui ask about the Drunken Immortal restaurant, she didn't know what to say to Fairy Lianshui. Fairy Lianshui saw Bai Yi's hesitant look and slowly said to her, "What are you hesitating for? I'll give you everything I promised you." At this moment, Bai Yi heaved a sigh of relief and slowly said to Fairy Lianshui. Xiao Changtian said to the sky after leaving the square of the Drunken Immortal in with Futian. "Sigh, a small courtyard is still better." After arriving at the immortal realm and seeing the current situation of the immortal cultivators, Xiao Changtian still felt that he was not strong enough. It was better to hide in the small courtyard. With this thought in mind, the chaos ant on Xiao Changshan's back slowly poked its head out. The 2 antennae slowly lit up, emitting a burst of silver light. Xiao Changtian, Futian, and the others were trapped within. Then Xiao Changtian and Futian disappeared from the divine realm. At the same time, Tianyuan continent, Daong town. Xiao Changtian and Futian slowly landed on the surface of Daong town. Seeing the familiar scene around him, Xiao Changtian said to Futian, "You're back." Needless to say, Xiao Changtian knew that it must be the Great Sun Immortal who cast the spell on the Great Sun sect. That was why they could arrive at Daong town so quickly. After all, when he went to the divinity, Xiao Changtian had also arrived at the divinity quickly with the help of the Great Sun Immortal. Then, Xiao Changtian slowly walked to the front of his courtyard. Looking at his own courtyard, Xiao Changtian felt a sense of familiarity. "Senior, you're back." At this moment, the voice of the Great Sun Immortal slowly sounded in Xiao Changshan's ears. Xiao Changtian heard the words of the Grand Sun sect and turned around as well. When he saw the Great Sun Immortal, he said to him slowly, "I'm back." The Great Sun Immortal came to Xiao Changshan's side and said to him slowly, "Senior, how was your trip? Did you gain anything?" Great Sun was extremely concerned about the invitation the Divine Realm had sent to the Tianyuan continent. Hearing the words of the Great Sun Immortal, Xiao Changtian also sighed. This perfected De Yang had kindly helped him get a chance to enter the Li Fire sect. Since Futian did not pass the test, it would be a waste of his energy to tell the story. When the Great Sun Immortal saw Xiao Changtian sigh, he was also nervous. Could it be that Senior encountered some obstacles in his trip to the divine world this time? One had to know that Senior was the master of many divine beasts. If even he could not deal with it, then the Tianyuan continent would truly be in danger. With this thought in mind, Xiao Changshan's voice slowly entered the ears of the Great Sun Immortal. "It's not a big deal. It's just that I've troubled you." Taoist Daong heaved a sigh of relief when he heard Xiao Changshan's words. Senior said that it was nothing serious. It seemed that the matter had been resolved. At this moment, the Great Sun Immortal also said to Xiao Changtian slowly, "It's not hard. It's good that you're fine." Xiao Changtian nodded after hearing the words of the Great Sun Immortal. What the Great Sun Immortal said was not wrong. He was just a mortal, but he had brought Futian to mingle with a group of immortal cultivators. It was already a good thing that he was able to come back alive. With that thought in mind, he went to the backyard. Seeing the familiar rocking chair, he slowly sat down. When the great sun immortal saw Xiao Changshan's actions, he didn't say anything. He said slowly to Xiao Chang'an, "Senior, I won't disturb you anymore." "Okay." Xiao Changtian replied after hearing the words of the great sun immortal. Then he fell asleep on the rocking chair. These few days of running around in the divine world, he also felt very tired. The great sun immortal slowly left Xiao Changshan's courtyard. Then, in front of Xiao Changshan's courtyard, the beast tamer sect master and the others slowly walked out. They had already waited outside the courtyard when the great sun immortal entered. "Perfected great sun, how is it? Senior's trip to the divine world this time has been settled well, right?" Hearing the beast tamer sect master's words, Taoist De Yang waved his hand at them. "Senior needs to rest. Let's go somewhere else." As he spoke, Perfected De Yang also brought the beast tamer sect master and the others and slowly flew towards his own great sun sect. After arriving at the great sun sect, the great sun immortal said to the people in front of him, "Senior said that it's nothing serious and has been resolved." Hearing Taoist De Yang's words, the beast tamer sect master and the others slowly heaved a sigh of relief. Like I said, with Senior here, there's nothing that can't be solved. Senior's strength is truly unparalleled. You can travel between the divine realm and the Tianyuan continent as you please. Since there's nothing else, let's go back. Well, thanks Senior another day. Yes, we have to plan this carefully. As everyone spoke, they left the Great Sun Divine Hall and started planning. Chapter 484, Burning the Heavens, 1. Divine Realm on a Mountain Peak. Tian, the Ice Emperor and the others stood on the mountain peak, staring at the Metal Emperor. He then slowly spoke to them, "Metal Emperor, why are you entangled with the people from the Elysium?" The Metal Emperor stared at Tian as he spoke in excitement. "My lord, when the Golden Emperor woke up, he also planned to go to the Divine Realm to find you. I didn't expect that the Metal Emperor would run into people from the Elysium after searching for a while. They said that they had news of Master, so I followed them. I didn't expect to fall into their trap." Upon hearing the Metal Emperor's words, Tian also slowly walked towards her. She helped him up from the ground and slowly said to him, "It's fine. It's good that you're back." Although he said this, Tian patted the Metal Emperor's shoulder. The Wood Emperor and Water Emperor behind him also knelt down when they saw Tian's state. "We swear our loyalty to our lord." After that, the Metal Emperor also walked towards Tian. He slowly spoke, "Master, I have discovered many secrets in the Gate of Heaven." Although he had been controlled by the Divine Eye recently, however, the things that the Metal Emperor had seen were all left in his mind. Staring at the drunken immortal in below, Jin Huang also slowly spoke to Tian. "The building below is used by the heavenly gates to collect the fate of the various worlds. For hundreds of years, the Heaven's Gate has been collecting luck every once in a while. This is the reason why experts of the Divine Realm cannot advance after reaching the God Emperor realm." Upon hearing the Metal Emperor's words, Tian also nodded his head. As for Xiao Changtian coming to the divinity personally, he knew that this matter was not simple. As expected, the Heaven's Gate scheme was related to the fate of the entire Divine Realm. At this moment, Tian slowly spoke to the Metal Emperor, "I understand. Let's go back first." Tian remembered that when Xiao Changtian left, he also asked him to follow him. Since Senior said so, he naturally had his own meaning. At the same time, in a space outside the divine world, Divine Eye's figure slowly stood in midair. At this moment, there was another figure sitting beside him. He saw a golden figure sitting on a tiger. The figure put his hands together and looked at the Divine Eye in front of him. He slowly said to him, "I didn't expect that you would become so miserable after a trip to the Divine Realm. Tell me, why did you call me over urgently?" The Divine Eyes looked at the figure in front of him and smiled at him. He slowly said, "I met an opponent in the Divine Realm this time, but I think you should be very interested in him." When the figure heard the Divine Eye's words, he smiled at him and said, "Who are you? What is there to be interested in a barren land?" The figure spoke in a disdainful tone. What if I saw a white tiger in the divine realm? The divine eyes looked at the figure in front of him and said slowly, "White tiger." When the figure heard the name White Tiger, he was obviously shocked. Then he said to the divine eye in front of him, "I say, divine eye, don't treat me as a pastime. How can a mere divine realm have a divine beast like the white tiger? You should know that in the human realm upon heavens, the white tiger is almost extinct." The divine eye saw the figure standing up from the tiger in front of him and was neither anxious nor slow. "If you don't believe me, you can go and see for yourself." The divine eye knew how tempting the white tiger bloodline was to the person in front of him. The mount under his feet was the famous Tiger King in the heavenly gates. His cultivation base complemented his mount. Therefore, if his Tiger King obtained the white tiger's bloodline, then his strength could be said to advance by leaps and bounds. "Funtian, do you want to go down and give it a try?" At this moment, the divine eye was still smiling at him. Funtian snorted coldly when he heard what the divine eye said. "Divine eye, I hope what you said is true. Otherwise, when we reach the heavenly gates, you will definitely be in trouble in front of the sect master." Following that, Funtian turned into a stream of light and flew downwards. After Funtian left, divine eye started coughing violently. After being hit by Shao Changshan's Taiji fist, the injuries on the divine eye's body had yet to recover. Feeling the weakness of his body, the divine eye also looked behind him. He could only come to the divine world in the future. No matter how he thought about it, the divine eye turned into a stream of light and flew into the distance. At the same time, on the Tianyuan continent, Shao Changtian was sitting on a chair in the backyard, looking at the sky in front of him. He said to Fu Tian, who was walking by, "Fu Tian, did you gain anything from your trip to the divine world?" Although he was not chosen by the Li Fire sect, Shao Changtian still wanted to ask Fu Tian. Let's see if he really has no intention of cultivating. One had to know that Fu Tian might have done it because he was taking care of her. That's why he said he didn't want to go out and cultivate. When Fu Tian heard Shao Changshan's words, he remembered something. He took out a black collar from his pocket and handed it to Shao Changtian. He said slowly, "Master, I obtained this in the Drunken Immortal restaurant. I don't know what use it has either. Could I trouble Master to take a look?" In Fusion's eyes, this black collar was too strange. He felt that other than devouring the luck of the hotshots, there must be other uses. Shao Changtian looked at the collar in Fusion's hand and took it from him. Shao Changtian fiddled with his hands for a while before slowly saying to Fu Tian, "It doesn't have much use. Find a place to put it and he'll modify it." He had just seen it, and it was just a normal collar. However, he could not rule out the possibility that it was some immortal treasure. He still had to find the great young immortal to appraise it. Hearing Shao Changshan's words, Fu Tian did not hesitate. Then she walked towards her room. Ever since he returned from the divinity, he had gained a lot from Shao Changshan's Taiji fist. After comprehending it for a while, he felt that his human book was about to break through. At this time, he also wanted to go to his room to comprehend the Tao. After Fu Tian returned to his room, a voice came from outside Shao Changtian. Shao Changshan's face lit up when he saw who it was. The newcomer was none other than the Great Sun Immortal whom he had just discussed. The Great Sun Immortal was really powerful. His cultivation had actually reached such a level. He had cultivated to the point where he could see through people's minds. Shao Changtian waved his hand at the Great Sun Immortal, intending to ask him if this collar had any use. The Great Sun Immortal saw Shao Changtian waving his hand, as if he knew he was coming. She smiled at him and walked over. Chapter 485. The Infinite Circle became a big pot? _LTN Yuan Continent, Shao Changshan's courtyard. Shao Changtian sat on his rocking chair and stood up. He picked up the black collar on the table and said slowly to the approaching Taoist master of Great Sun, "Taoist Big Sun, look at this collar. Is it some kind of immortal magic treasure?" Just as the Great Sun Immortal was about to say something to Shao Changtian, he saw the black collar in Shao Changshan's hand. He also took it from his hands. After observing it for a while, he said to them, "Senior, this is the first time I've seen this black collar. It should be a powerful magic treasure. In the eyes of the great sun immortal, this black collar emitted a powerful aura. Ah, it really was an immortal treasure? Xiao Changtian looked at the black collar in front of him and slowly took it from the hands of the great sun immortal. After fiddling with it for a while, Xiao Changtian slowly said to the great sun immortal, "Thank you, perfected great Sunday. I originally planned to smash him into pieces in a few days to make some spare materials. After all, this black collar was useless to him." Hearing Xiao Changshen's words, the infinite hoop trembled. He had thought that he would be useful after finding this new master. He didn't expect that the other party didn't fancy his ability at all. Instead, he planned to shatter it and use it as some spare materials. He had just gained intelligence not long ago and did not want to disappear so quickly in this world. With this thought in mind, Wu Ji also listened to Xiao Changshen's words carefully. When the great sun immortal heard Xiao Changshen's words, he smiled at him. Only a peerless expert like Senior would turn a blind eye to such an immortal artifact. He even looked down on her. One had to know that if it was outside, the great sun immortal would be certain. Countless cultivators would fight for this infinite ring, and there would be a bloody storm. At this time, Xiao Changtan also said to the great sun immortal slowly, "It's a pity that it's just an ordinary collar." Although it was an immortal magic treasure, Xiao Changtian didn't feel happy. He was just a mortal and did not have much spiritual power. How could he control a magic treasure? This thing was of little value to him. If it was an iron pot, he could use it to cook rice or something. The black collar on the table didn't hesitate when it heard Xiao Changshen's words. Then, it changed on the table and instantly turned into an iron pot. This iron pot looked exactly the same as the one in the courtyard. Xiao Changtian looked at the black collar on the table that had turned into an iron pot. He was also interested in him. It seemed that this immortal magic treasure still had some intelligence. Xiao Changtian actually knew what he meant. At this moment, Xiao Changtian also walked towards him. Xiao Changtian picked up the iron pot on the table and flipped through it. "Not bad, not bad." After receiving Xiao Changshen's praise, Xiao Changtian waved his infinite ring at him. He looked very flattering. The great sun immortal said to Xiao Changtian slowly, "Senior, what do you want this pot for?" "I'm cooking." Xiao Changtian slowly responded to Xiao Dayang. This iron pot was naturally prepared for him to make the supreme martial kick in the future. Furthermore, he was using an immortal magic treasure to make a supreme leg. This also met the requirements of the system. Xiao Changtian was also very happy when he thought of this. At this moment, the great sun immortal also watched Xiao Changtian put the infinite ring in the kitchen. He sighed in his heart. "Senior, cooking in the courtyard is the best in the world." This iron pot had a faint tendency to absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth just by placing it there. In that case, the food made by Senior would probably reach an even higher level. Then, Xiao Changshen's voice slowly entered Great Sun Immortal's ears. "Perfected Dayang, why are you looking for me?" When the Great Sun Immortal heard Xiao Changshen's words, he also reacted and said to him slowly, "Senior, I'm here to invite you to the Great Sun Divine Hall for a chat. When those people heard that you were back, they all wanted to see you." As he spoke, the Great Sun Immortal also revealed a smile. Xiao Changtian nodded at him after hearing the words of the Great Sun Immortal. He also remembered that when he left Great Sun Town for the Divine World, those cultivators from the smaller sects came out to send him off. It had to be said that those cultivators were also very enthusiastic about him. Since that was the case, how could he waste their good intentions? Seeing Xiao Changtian nod his head, the Great Sun Immortal said to him slowly, "Senior, I'll wait for you at the Great Sun Divine Hall." Xiao Changtian heard what Big Sun said and slowly nodded to him again. "Okay, I'll definitely be there on time." Then, under Xiao Changshen's gaze, the Great Sun Immortal also slowly left Xiao Changshen's courtyard. Xiao Changtan also walked to the side when he saw the Great Sun Immortal leaving. He said slowly to Mu Jihuang, who was in front of the courtyard, "Jiu, this is a pretty good pot. I'll use it to make fried rice in the future." As he spoke, Xiao Changtian pointed at the infinite circle in the kitchen. "This is an immortal treasure. You have to be careful when you use it. Be careful not to get hurt." After all, Mu Jiahuang was just like him, an ordinary mortal. He used the immortal artifacts and spirit artifacts used by immortal cultivators. It was still a little difficult without any true essence or spiritual power to drive it. If he didn't use it well, it wouldn't be good if he hurt his body. Hearing Xiao Changshan's words, Mu Jiahuang nodded at him. I will remember, master. When Xiao Changtian was talking to the great Sun Immortal, she was also attracted by the black collar that Xiao Changtian took out. This was because she had been paying attention to the changes in the fate of the Tianyuan continent. She could feel the collar in Xiao Changshan's hand. The accumulated luck had reached an unfathomable level. At the very least, the entire Tianyuan continent's luck was not as great as the luck on the continent. Using the wok of luck to cook food, this was something that could be cooked. If an ordinary person ate it, they could also become a cultivator with outstanding talent. While Mu Jiahuang was sighing, Xiao Changshan's voice was heard again. Oh right, Jiu, you guys can eat by yourselves tonight. Taoist Big Sun invited me over, so I won't be coming back to eat. As Xiao Changtian spoke, Mu Jiahuang also saw Xiao Changtian slowly leave the courtyard. Chapter 486. How about you help me take care of Xiaobai? 1. Tianyuan Continent, Dayong Town. At this moment, in the sky above Dayong Town, a stream of light flew past. Fen Tian's figure slowly appeared in midair. Fen Tian stepped on the Tiger King's body, and the tiger beneath his feet roared. Looking at the living beings below, his eyes were filled with disdain. The living beings here were not even qualified to become his food. Sensing the thin spiritual energy on the Tianyuan continent, the ferocious Tiger King looked up at Fen Tian with dissatisfaction. Fen Tian saw the ferocious Tiger King's reaction and walked down from his body. She placed her hand on the ferocious Tiger King's forehead and stroked it. Then she slowly said to him, "Ferocious Tiger King, don't be anxious. I'll find a supreme bloodline for you later." Fen Tian was also looking down at Great Sun Town as he spoke. To be honest, Fen Tian did not really believe the Divine Eye's words. He followed the aura given by the Divine Eye and followed it all the way here. He discovered that the cultivator that the Divine Eye was talking about was not in the divine world at all. Instead, he came to this lower realm where the spiritual energy was so thin. There was a white tiger in this place? Fen Tian looked down at Great Sun Town and clenched his fist as he spoke slowly. Forget it. Since you're here, let's go down and take a look. If you don't, that Divine Eye will be in trouble. Following that, Fen Tian caressed the ferocious Tiger King and said slowly, "Ferocious Tiger King, go to the divine realm and wait for me." Seeing the ferocious Tiger King's unwillingness, Fen Tian decided to let him go to the divine realm first. What could threaten him in this place? To him, even without the ferocious Tiger King, he could still be invincible. When the ferocious Tiger King heard Fen Tian's words, he stuck out his tongue and licked him. Then, with a whoosh, his figure disappeared from this world. The ferocious Tiger King really did not want to stay in this place any longer. After sending off the ferocious Tiger King, Fen Tian's figure flashed and he slowly disappeared into the sky. Fen Tian's body was also flickering with quintessential essence when he arrived at Great Sun Town. Following that, Fen Tian put away his image and turned into an ordinary monk. This place was almost mortal. Even if there really was a white tiger hiding here, it would quickly hide. Fen Tian looked at the crowd around him in disgust as he walked along the streets of Dayong Town. The market was crowded with people coming and going. From time to time, someone would pass by Fen Tian and bump into his shoulder. Fen Tian's eyes flashed with killing intent as he looked at the person who had just bumped into him. A group of mortals who did not know life and death. If not for the fact that he did not want to cause unnecessary panic, he would have killed this group of people long ago. As he thought about this, Fen Tian felt as though his body had knocked into someone. Bang! When his body collided with the person, the sky also looked in front of him. Xiao Changtian was holding his forehead and smiling at him. "Sorry, I was looking for my kitten." Xiao Changtian also wanted to bring the white tiger along when he left the courtyard. In this way, he would have a companion in the Great Sun Divine Hall alone. He wouldn't have to mix with a group of cultivators as a mortal. However, ever since he returned from the divine realm, the white tiger looked even more mischievous. If he went to the Great Sun Divine Hall, he would cause trouble for himself. That was not good. At this moment, Fentian looked at Xiao Changtian, who was standing in front of him. A wave of anger rose in his heart. If this was in the heavenly gates, who would dare to speak to him like this? In the divine gate, other than a few people, who else would not take a detour when they saw him? Now that he had come to a mortal world, he was still being knocked around by these people. At this moment, true origin surged in Fentian's hand. Forget about those people just now, at least they brushed past him. This person was actually so bold as to directly knock him down. He couldn't let them live. The true origin in Fentian's hands surged as he prepared to launch an attack on Xiao Changtian. Xiao Changtian looked at Fentian and did not say anything. He did not walk past him either. At this moment, Xiao Changtian seemed to have seen something and said loudly, "Xiao Bai, come back here." At this moment, Xiao Changtian also saw the white tiger in the crowd. The white tiger heard Xiao Changshan's words and walked over. He climbed onto Xiao Changshan's body and lay in his arms. Fentian was currently launching his killing move at Xiao Changtian when he saw the white tiger in Xiao Changshan's arms. His expression also changed, and he slowly withdrew the true essence in his hand. His holy sense reached out to the white tiger in Xiao Changshan's arms, and his face lit up. It seemed that the divine eye was right. There was really a white tiger in this lower realm. At this moment, a hint of greed flashed across Fentian's eyes. If this white tiger used all its blood essence to cleanse the fierce Tiger King's marrow, then his strength could even surpass the sect master and become the next leader of the heavenly gates. At this moment, White Tiger, who was in Xiao Changshan's arms, could feel Fentian's malice. She also looked at him. Just as he was about to intimidate him, Xiao Changtian patted his head. "Xiao Bai, don't run around anymore." Xiao Changtian raised his head again and said to Fentian, "Taoist priest, I'm sorry about just now, but I have something on now, so I'll leave first." An apology was an apology, but he still had to go to the Great Sun Divine Hall to meet them. When Fentian heard Xiao Changshan's words, he replied calmly, "You can leave, but leave the one in your arms behind." Fentian did not mention the name of the white tiger in Xiao Changshan's bosom. He did not want to attract the attention of the surrounding people. At this moment, Xiao Changshan's face lit up when he heard Fentian's words. Could it be that this monk really liked cats? Now that Xiaobai was so naughty, if she followed him to the Great Sun Divine Palace, he was really worried that he would cause trouble for him in the Great Sun Divine Hall. After all, the animals given by the system could not do anything. They were the most mischievous. Buddhist Taoists like Tyrant had the philosophy of saving all living beings and doing good deeds. If this monk liked cats and was willing to help him, it was a good idea to leave Little White with him for a while. With this thought in mind, Xiao Changtian turned to Fentian and said slowly, "All right, monk, can you help me take care of Little White?" As he spoke, Xiao Changtian lifted Whitey up and handed it to Fentian. Fentian heard Xiao Changshan's words and the white tiger that Xiao Changtian handed over. On the contrary, there was some suspicion on his face. What was this person trying to do? Chapter 487. Deal completed. 1. Tianyuan Continent, Dayang Town. Xiao Changtian looked at Fentian with anticipation in his eyes. He wondered how the Buddhists and Taoists in the cultivation world were like. "Are you willing to help me with this?" Fentian looked at Xiao Changshan's smiling face and gathered his true origin to calm himself down. Why would he suspect that he had been schemed against by a mortal just now? With his cultivation, no matter how scheming this mortal was, he would not be able to do anything. He would also teach him a good lesson. In the face of absolute strength, any scheme was futile. With this thought in mind, Fentian also intended to take the white tiger from Xiao Changtian. At this moment, Xiao Changtian retracted his arm. "Taoist priest, you should also take something as collateral." Xiao Changtian saw that Fentian did not give him anything and wanted to take the white tiger away. She also slowly said to him, "Although Buddhism was good at doing things, it was better to be on guard when going out. This monk, if he took Little White away directly, What if she couldn't find him after returning from Daong town? Fen Tian sneered in his heart when he heard Xiao Changshen's words. It seemed that he had worried too much just now. This guy clearly wanted to use the white tiger in his arms to cheat him of the celestial artifact. However, it was understandable. How could this person in front of him possibly discover the white tiger's true colors? Following that, Fen Tian took out a golden ladle from his bosom and handed it to Xiao Changtian. What do you think of this? Fen Tian looked at Xiao Changtian with a look of disdain. Xiao Changtian looked at the golden ladle that Fen Tian handed over. This thing seemed to be even inferior to the fragment Tian wanted to give him back then. With that thought in mind, he shook his head at him. Fen Tian was enraged when he saw Xiao Changtian shaking his head. This mortal was not satisfied with his gold ladle? One had to know that although this golden ladle was not a precious item, however, with it, this mortal could also call the wind and summon the rain in this world, dominating a region. This mortal was too greedy. With this thought in mind, Fen Tian also had the thought of snatching the white tiger from Xiao Changshen's hands. Xiao Changshen's voice slowly entered Fen Tian's ears. Monk, I won't hide it from you. I'm also afraid that someone will snatch little white away. Xiao Bai is still very important to me. Xiao Changtian looked at little white in his arms helplessly. This little animal given by the system was related to his path to invincibility. Fen Tian felt nervous when he heard Xiao Changshen's words. Could it be that this mortal in front of him had already seen through his move? He thought back to what the divine eye had said to him previously. Fen Tian slowly dispersed the true essence that he had gathered in his hand. He said slowly to Xiao Changtian, "Then tell me, what do you want me to use as collateral?" When Xiao Changtian heard Fen Tian's words, he started to look at him. From the monk's words, this guy should be very poor. Thinking about it, it made sense. Those Buddhist Taoists were all more particular about money. It was normal for them to be poor. After sizing Fen Tian up, Xiao Changtian noticed the string of beads hanging around Fen Tian's neck. Following that, Xiao Changtian pointed at the bead on Fen Tian's neck and said slowly, "Why don't you give me that string of beads?" When Fen Tian heard Xiao Changshen's words, he also looked at the Buddhist beads on his neck. This mortal had such sharp eyes. This pearl was one of the most precious treasures on him. In the heavenly gates, it was also a famous killing weapon. Xiao Changshen's voice rang out again. "But, can't I?" Fen Tian's eyes flickered when he heard Xiao Changshen's words. He also took off the Buddha beads around his neck. He slowly handed it to Xiao Changtian and said to him, "Take it." There was no use in giving him this Buddha bead. If one didn't have a strong enough true essence to support it, they wouldn't be able to unleash any power at all. As long as he obtained this white tiger, he would return to retrieve the Buddha beads. When Xiao Changtian saw the Buddha beads that Fen Tian handed over, he also handed the white tiger to him. After casually placing the Buddha beads that Fen Tian handed over into his own interspatial ring, he felt a sense of relief. Xiao Changtian returned Fen Tian's punch. "Monk, thank you." As soon as he finished speaking, Xiao Changtian walked towards the direction of the Great Sun Sect. Xiao Changtian touched the back of the white tiger and said slowly, "Xiao Bai, you can't be naughty anymore." Xiao Changtian was also worried that Tyrant would be a little mischievous. If he got lost, he would be caught and made into soup. Who should he complain to? His path to invincibility would be gone. Xiao Changtian instructed the white tiger and slowly walked towards the Great Sun Sect. White Tiger came to Fen Tian's side and was about to flare up. Hearing Xiao Changshen's words, he stuck out his tongue and licked his feet. Then, he looked at Fen Tian who was standing in front of him. Fen Tian felt the white tiger's gaze and his heart turned solemn. It was indeed the white tiger divine beast. Even though it was so young, its pressure was real. This was also the reason why Fen Tian did not dare to act rashly against Xiao Changtian. If the white tiger stood up to protect its master, he did not know if he could beat it. Now, it was better to bring the white tiger to his own cultivation room to refine the blood essence. Following that, Fen Tian said slowly to White Tiger, "Follow me." Looking at the appearance of this white tiger, its intelligence should not be completely complete yet. Following that, Fen Tian turned into a stream of light and disappeared from Great Sun Town. The white tiger looked in the direction Fantian left and patted its feet. His body also turned into a stream of light and followed. That fellow just now clearly had malicious intentions towards Master. If he followed this guy over, he could also go over and teach them a lesson. At this moment, in a space outside the Tianyuan continent, the ferocious Tiger King also sensed something and opened his eyes abruptly. Looking at the space in front of him, a stream of light slowly flew over. Following that, Fantian's figure slowly landed in front of the ferocious Tiger King. When the ferocious Tiger King saw Fantian, he took the initiative to walk over. Then, it roared a few times in the direction behind him. Then, the white tiger's figure slowly appeared in their eyes. The ferocious Tiger King looked at the white tiger in front of him. Although it was petite, it emitted a terrifying pressure. Chapter 488, Great Sun Sex Banquet, 1. Outside the Tianyuan continent, the Pharaoh Tiger King looked at the white tiger and shrank back as well, hiding behind Fantian. When Fantian saw the ferocious Tiger King's appearance, he used his hand to stroke his head. "It's fine. His blood essence will be yours later." As soon as he finished his sentence, the true essence on Fantian's body started to condense and a fiery red true essence appeared on his hand. Following that, Fantian waved his hand and the ferocious Tiger King and White Tiger who were beside him were trapped inside. Following that, the Tiger King and the White Tiger disappeared from the Tianyuan continent. At this moment, Xiao Changtian was slowly walking towards the Great Sun Divine Hall. When they arrived at the entrance of the Great Sun Sect, the Great Sun Sect disciples saw Xiao Changtian. Following that, a few Great Sun Sect disciples also walked forward. He smiled at Xiaochan. "Senior, you're here? The sect master is already waiting for you in the main hall." As they spoke, the disciples of the solar sect also made an inviting gesture towards Xiao Changtian. Following that, Xiao Changtian was led by the Great Sun Sect disciples to the entrance of the Great Sun Sacred Hall. "Senior, we'll be leaving first," the two Great Sun Sect disciples said to Xiao Changtian before returning to their posts. At this moment, Xiao Changtian was also looking at the Great Sun Divine Hall. This was not the first time he had come to the Great Sun Sect, so why were these disciples acting so strangely this time? Although Xiao Changtian thought so, he pushed the door with both hands. The door of the Great Sun Divine Hall slowly opened. Xiao Changtian also saw that there were many fiery red pendants inside. Then, Taoist De Yang also slowly walked out from the side with the Beast Tamer sect master and the others. When they arrived in front of Xiao Changtian, they said to him in unison, "Senior, please take a look." Then, Taoist Big Sun and the others waved their hands, and an exquisite fiery red seed appeared in Xiao Changshan's eyes. "This is..." Xiao Changtian looked at the crowd in front of him and said slowly. Hearing Xiao Changshan's words, the Great Sun Immortal was neither anxious nor slow. He stretched out his hand and injected a trace of vital essence into the fiery red seed. Then, the fiery red seed transformed into a burst of fire. Boom! As the flames rose, the Great Sun Divine Hall also emitted a shocking high temperature. After Xiao Changtian returned, the Beast Tamer sect master and the others kept thinking of ways to help Xiao Changtian. After asking around, they also knew that Xiao Changtian wanted to make an ingredient recently. As a result, the various organizations began to search every corner of the continent. In the end, they also contacted the Li Fire sect in the Divine World. When the Li Fire sect received the news from the Tianyuan continent, they did not dare to be negligent. Following that, he also searched wantonly in the Divine World. He had found this precious fire seed. It was said that this was a seed that fell from the fiery tree. If it was nurtured well, it could grow into a divine beast like the white tiger. However, this was only a seed, and the seed had basically lost its vitality. It was basically impossible to nurture it. Xiao Changtian looked at the fire coming out of the seed and smiled. This group of people was really thoughtful. Then Xiao Changtian slowly said to everyone, thank you, everyone." Seeing Xiao Changtian like this, the Great Sun Immortal also gave him the fiery red seed in his hand. Then he said slowly to the surrounding Great Sun sect disciples, Let's start the banquet. As soon as the Great Sun Immortal finished speaking, the curtains in the Great Sun Divine Hall were lifted. Then, Xiao Changtian saw the tables in the Great Sun Divine Palace. Seeing everyone's reaction, Xiao Changtian said to the Great Sun Immortal, "Taoist Big Sun, what's going on?" When he came, the Great Sun Immortal didn't tell him that he was going to hold a banquet. When the Great Sun Immortal heard Xiao Changshan's words, he said to him slowly, "Senior, this is everyone's gratitude to you. Sit down and eat." While talking, Xiao Changtian was also pulled to sit at a table by the Great Sun Immortal. Following that, the Beast Tamer sect master and the others sat down in turn. Seeing them like this, Changtian followed them and started eating. Since they were already here, they were still so enthusiastic. It was not particularly good for him to reject it. Then, Xiao Changtian picked up the wine cup on the table and said to the others, "Then let's have a drink together." Seeing Xiao Changshan's expression, the cultivators also stood up from their seats. He said slowly to Xiaoan, "Senior, please." Then, Xiao Changtian also drank a few cups of wine, and the Great Sun Immortal beside him also looked a little drunk. At this moment, the Great Sun Immortal pulled Xiao Changshan's arm and said to him slowly, "Senior, did you encounter anything in the divine realm this time? Can you tell us about it?" Hearing the words of the Great Sun Immortal, the other cultivators also echoed him. "That's right, Senior. If there's anything, can you tell us? It'll even be easier for us to send your contribution down." You're wrong." At this moment, one of the cultivator's companions pushed him. After being pushed by his companion, this cultivator instantly understood something. This senior was tempering his heart in the mortal world and wanted to keep a low profile. How could he say that? As he thought of this, the cultivator slapped himself a few times. At this moment, Xiao Changtian smiled at everyone. Actually, there was nothing much in the divine world. However, today I met a monk. I wonder what kind of character monks have in the cultivation world? Xiao Changtian was also interested in the monks in the cultivation world. Hearing Xiao Changshan's words, the Great Sun Immortal also fell into deep thought. The Buddhist League was not very powerful on the Tianyuan continent right now. There were not many sects that could rank the top. With this thought in mind, the Great Sun Immortal said to Xiao Changtian slowly, "Senior, the Buddhist sect isn't very powerful." Xiao Changtian nodded at him after hearing the words of the Great Sun Immortal. That is right. The monk he saw today also looked very poor. He only had a Buddha bead on him. At this moment, a cultivator said to Xiao Changtian, "Senior, do you have anything to say about the Buddhist sect?" Xiao Changtian waved his hand when he heard the crowd's words. "It's nothing. I just got a string of Buddhist beads today, so I asked." Then, Xiao Changtian took out the Buddha bead from his interspatial ring. Chapter 489. White Tiger Havoc in the Heavenly Gates, 1. Tianyuan Continent, Great Sun Divine Hall. Xiao Changtian took out the Buddha beads that he had pawned from Fentian. Seeing the Buddha beads in Xiao Changshan's hand, those cultivators also looked over. From the Buddha beads in Xiao Changshan's hand, the cultivators also felt suffocated. This Buddha bead gave them a very dangerous feeling. At this moment, Xiao Changtian also drank a cup of wine and said to the cultivators, "Don't underestimate this Buddha bead. If it was before, this Buddha bead would have had a great history." In his previous life, Xiao Changtian also knew that there were some places that believed in Buddhism. At this moment, those cultivators were also very interested in what Xiao Changtian said. They slowly said to Xiao Changtian, "Senior, tell us about your background." Xiao Changtian slowly stood up from his seat when he saw the expectant looks on the faces of the cultivators. He slowly said to them, "This is a long story. This Buddhist sect is all about fate. What they preach is to use fate to gather everything in the world together. Moreover, their favorite activity is to meditate and chant scriptures." While speaking, Xiao Changtian also picked up the prayer beads and demonstrated it in front of everyone. The Buddha beads in Xiao Changshan's hand also emitted a burst of light. Xiao Changtian didn't notice any of this. At this moment, Taoist De Yang also asked Xiao Changtian, "Then, Senior, what do you think of this Buddhist sect?" It was rare for Xiao Changtian to come to the Grand Sun Divine Palace and speak more, so Taoist Master Diang also asked about that. Xiao Chang'an also picked up the wine cup on the table and took a sip after hearing the words of the great Sun Immortal. She slowly said to him, "In my opinion, fate is an illusory thing that can't be seen or touched. Moreover, the Buddhist sect claims that they want to save everyone, but there are so many believers in the Buddhist sect, so how can they live well?" Xiao Changtian continued to eat as he spoke. When everyone heard Xiao Changshan's words, they also came to a sudden realization. So this was senior's understanding of Buddhism. However, if those bald men of the Buddhist sect heard this, they would probably be chased and beaten up. Only a senior would have the guts to say such things about the Buddhist sect. While Xiao Changtian was talking, the Buddha beads in his hands started to tremble. At the same time, somewhere outside the Tianyuan continent. At this moment, outside a magnificent hall, a stream of light slowly flew past. The figure did not stop in the air and flew directly into his hall. It was Fen Tian, who had just returned from outside. Fen Tian rode on the ferocious Tiger King and arrived at his main hall. He slowly walked down from the Tiger King and said to him, "Leave the rest to me. Stay here and don't let anyone disturb me." While Fen Tian was speaking, the white tiger was slowly waking up on the back of the ferocious Tiger King. As the white tiger stood up, the ferocious Tiger King did not even dare to breathe loudly. As the white tiger slowly walked down from the Tiger King's body, Fen Tian said to him slowly, "Follow me." The white tiger opened its eyes and looked around. He transmitted his voice to Fen Tian. "Where is this place?" Fen Tian looked at White Tiger after he received his voice transmission. This was the first time the White Tiger had communicated with him. Fen Tian transmitted his voice to White Tiger after receiving his message. "This is the divine gate. Follow me." Coming to the heavenly gates could be said to be burning their own territory. He was not worried that the White Tiger would run out of his territory. The White Tiger glanced at Fen Tian and said slowly, "This is your base camp, right?" Fen Tian saw that the White Tiger still did not react even after he had said 2 sentences. She also felt that something was wrong and looked at him. She also slowly said to him, "Come over," he said. White Tiger ignored Fen Tian when he heard his words. The true essence on his body also slowly gathered. Following that, a dignified snort slowly entered Fen Tian's ears. "Since we're already at the base camp, I won't be polite." A gigantic white tiger slowly appeared before Fen Tian's eyes as he spoke. The white tiger in front of him was completely different from the weak white tiger from before. The white tiger in front of him was more than 10,000 feet tall. Its eyes were staring at Fen Tian. Fen Tian's body trembled slightly when he sensed the white tiger's gaze. He pointed at the white tiger in front of him, his mouth trembling. Is this an adult white tiger?" Looking at the white tiger in front of him, Fen Tian suddenly felt as though he had been tricked. The situation in front of him seemed to be out of his control. At this moment, the white tiger looked at its surroundings. He then turned to Fen Tian and said slowly, "I can finally have some fun." After saying that, the white tiger also moved. A pair of sharp claws sucked toward Fen Tian. Bang! Fen Tian immediately felt a pressure on his body. Following that, Fen Tian's figure was sent flying as well. He spat out a mouthful of blood. When the ferocious Tiger King saw how 100 Flower Garden had sent Fen Tian flying with a single palm strike, he wanted to bring Fen Tian along and escape. When the white tiger saw that the ferocious Tiger King was trying to escape, it raised its feet. He patted the spot where he had left, and a huge pressure immediately fell on the ferocious Tiger King. Bang! After being struck by the white tiger, the ferocious Tiger King's body instantly fell to the ground. He looked half dead. At this moment, a dignified voice rang out from outside the hall. "Who is it?" "Fen Tian, what are you doing?" There was anger in this voice. Just now, he clearly felt an abnormally powerful aura appear in the gate of heaven. This aura was something that even he could not resist. The person who spoke was the sect master of the Heaven's Gate. When the white tiger heard this voice, it also looked out of the hall. It roared angrily at the sky and flew out. Bang! As the white tiger flew out, a large crack appeared in the entire burning sky great hall. Then the Heaven's Gate disciples who were watching outside the hall saw a huge white tiger slowly running out of the hall. They had all come over because they had sensed the commotion in the burning sky hall. When he saw the white tiger, his face was filled with fear. "Run," one of the Heaven's Gate disciples said, and then his figure flew back. Chapter 490, White Tiger Divine Shield, 1. Heaven Gate, outside Fantion's main hall. Looking at the white tiger that walked out of the burning sky hall, the group of Heaven's Gate disciples fled to the back. At this moment, an old man slowly appeared in midair. The old man had a long white beard and was holding a young Zen master in his hand. He looked at the white tiger in front of him. He shouted, "You dare!" Following that, the old man began to mutter something as a golden light shone from his body. Then, the golden light turned into a circle and enveloped the white tiger. "Retract!" The old man shouted and waved his young Zen master with his right hand. Following that, the golden hoop above the white tiger's head tightened on the white tiger, trying to tie him up. The white tiger looked at the old man in the air and let out a roar. With a casual movement of his body, the collar that bound him shattered into pieces and exploded. Bang! The golden ring was easily dissolved by the white tiger, and the old man in the air also became unstable. The old man fell to the ground from midair. Then he looked at the white tiger in front of him. The golden light on his hand condensed again. "White tiger, don't even think about leaving today since you attacked my sky gate. Elders, return to your positions." As the old man finished speaking, rays of golden light flew out from behind him. Dozens of figures stopped in midair. After these elders arrived, they all bowed to the ground. "Greetings, sect master." The Heaven's Gate sect master stabilized his injuries and his figure once again rose into the air. "Come with me and kill the white tiger." As the Heaven's Gate sect master finished speaking, the group of Heaven's Gate elders behind him also flew out. They surrounded the white tiger. Formed the formation. After these Heaven Gate elders arrived at their respective positions, their bodies emitted waves of true essence. In an instant, a huge array was formed. The white tiger was at the center of the formation. Bush. The Heaven Gate elders looked at the white tiger in the center of the array and struck out with their palms. Each of his palms was carrying a golden light and a vast pressure. The white tiger looked at the palms flying towards them from all directions and glanced at them lazily. "Boring." "White Tiger Divine Shield," the white tiger said casually. Then, an invisible energy barrier protected the white tiger. Those golden palms were also annihilated when they hit it. Seeing that their attacks were ineffective, the Heaven Gate elders looked at each other. "Don't panic, help me." At this moment, the Heaven's Gate sect master also said slowly to the other Heaven's Gate elders. Then, the Heaven's Gate sect master pointed 2 fingers at the sky, and a golden palm condensed from true essence formed above the white tiger. When the other Heaven's Gate elders saw the Heaven's Gate sect master's actions, they also injected their true essence into their palms. As the elders poured their true essence into it, the golden palm also became corporeal. The white tiger watched as the golden palm approached, and it also rushed up. Seeing the white tiger's actions, the Heavenly Gates elders and the Heavenly Gates sect masters' expressions froze. "How dare you take my palm head-on? You're courting death." The white tiger moved forward. The golden palm also turned into waves of light and shattered. Following the white tiger's charge, the array that the Heaven's Gate sect master and the others had condensed was also broken without any attack. The array shattered, and the Heaven's Gate sect master and the others also suffered a backlash, their figures flying out. Bang! The Heaven's Gate sect master and the others fell to the ground, spitting out a trace of blood from their mouths. At this moment, they looked at the white tiger in the air with a trace of fear on their faces. This white tiger's strength seemed to be beyond their expectations. At this moment, the white tiger was also looking at them. Its pair of sharp claws attacked an elder of the Elysium. Bang! The Sky Gate elder was scratched by the white tiger's claws, and his body turned into a bloody mist. His body and soul were destroyed in midair. Seeing that their companions had been killed, the elders of the heavenly gates all looked terrified. Then, the white tiger's majestic voice slowly entered their ears. "Are you the ones who wanted to plot against Master and steal the luck of Master's disciple?" The white tiger stared at them coldly. It was as if everyone standing in front of him was dead. When the Heaven's Gate sect master heard White Tiger's words, he was also a little dumbfounded. The white tiger actually had an owner? Since the white tiger was so powerful, then its master's strength must not be unknown. How could the Elysium provoke such a person? Disciple? Faith? When an Elysium elder heard White Tiger's words, he also said submissively, "You mean the divine realm?" The words of this Heavenly Gates elder also made the others realize. In terms of providence, they had only recently sent their divine eyes to target the divine world to collect providence. However, this was a mission given to them by the various major sections. They didn't dare to be negligent. However, how could such a person appear in the divine realm? With this thought in mind, the Heaven's Gate sect master immediately knelt down in front of the white tiger. "Senior White Tiger, we were blind before. I don't know if that's where they live. Otherwise, even if we had 100 guts, we wouldn't dare to attack the divine realm." When the white tiger heard the Heaven's Gate sect master's words, it licked its claws casually. "Really?" Upon hearing White Tiger's words, the Heaven's Gate sect master seemed to have grabbed onto a life-saving straw. "It's true, Senior White Tiger. How would we dare to lie to you? How about this? My Elysium has stored some treasures over the years. Why don't we give them to Lord White Tiger as compensation?" As he spoke, the Heaven's Gate sect master also took off the interspatial ring on his hand. He raised his hands to the white tiger. The white tiger looked at the Heaven's Gate sect master's expression and did not even look at the palm on his hand. "You should keep this for yourself." When the Heaven's Gate sect master heard White Tiger's words, he was also a little surprised. However, to be honest, these things were all his collections over the past few years. If she really gave it to him, he really couldn't bear to. At this moment, the white tiger's voice continued to enter his ears. "As for that one, it's not impossible for me to let you off." When he spoke, White Tiger's tone also carried a trace of indisputable certainty. When the Heaven Gate elders heard White Tiger's words, they looked at each other in dismay. Then they saw the white tiger's eyes and gritted their teeth. He condensed his true essence on his palm and hit his shoulder. "Aha!" For a moment, the entire gate of heaven was filled with screams. When the white tiger saw all of this, it left the divine gate under everyone's unhurried gazes. Chapter 491, Returning 1. Gate of Heaven. The Heaven's Gate sect master and the group of Heaven's Gate elders looked at the figure that was far away from the white tiger and slowly stood up from the ground. Then, the disciples of the Elysium walked in from outside one after another. Seeing the looks of the Heaven's Gate sect master and the group of elders, they did not dare to make a sound. This was the first time they had seen the sect master and the elders in such a state in the heavenly gates after so many years. At this moment, the Heaven's Gate sect master also saw a Heaven's Gate disciple and slowly said to him, "What are you looking at? Come over." When the disciple heard the words of the leader of the Heaven's Gate sect, he shivered. In an instant he walked to the side of the Heaven's Gate sect master and supported him. At this moment, the Heaven's Gate sect master looked at the female disciple who was walking over. He was tall and had his eyes closed. He looked very cautious as he spoke slowly. "Which elder are you under? Why haven't I seen you before?" At this moment, the Heaven's Gate sect master had just been beaten up by the white tiger and was holding back his anger. Looking at the female disciple in front of him, he was also interested. When the female disciples of the Heavenly Gates heard the words of the Heavenly Gates sect master, they were also a little nervous. It was also her first time seeing the Gate of Heaven. She had just entered and wanted to see if there was anything she could help with. At this moment, the female disciple of the Heaven's Gate also said slowly to the Heaven's Gate sect master, "Sect master, my name is Xiao Ro. I just entered the Heavenly Gates not long ago and no elder has taken me in yet. How about this? I see that your aptitude is not bad. The Heaven's Gate sect master looked at Xiao Rou, who was supporting him, and said slowly. When Xiao Rou heard the words of the Heaven's Gate sect master, she was obviously a little flattered. He quickly said to the Heaven's Gate sect master, "Sect master, can I?" It was the dream of countless Heaven's Gate disciples to become the disciple of the Heaven's Gate sect master. Hearing Xiao Rou's words, the Heaven's Gate sect master also smiled. Patting Xiao Rou's palm, he slowly said to her, "Of course." At this moment, a Heavenly Gates elder also arrived beside the Heavenly Gate sect master. "Sect master, this matter?" When the Heaven's Gate sect master heard the Heaven's Gate elder's words, he shook his head at him. "You've been with me for so many years. Don't you know what to do? Report to the higher-ups when you find White Tiger. As for Fentian, lock him up first." The Heaven's Gate sect master looked at Fentian, who was half dead on the ground, and a trace of disgust flashed in his eyes. The reason why he had lost so much face this time was because Fentian had found the White Tiger from somewhere. It brought disaster to the Elysium. At this moment, the Heavenly Gates elder felt the anger in the Heavenly Gates sect master's words. He waved his hand behind him, and a few Heaven's Gate disciples took Fentian away from the ground. Then, the Heaven's Gate sect master slowly said to Xiao Rou beside him, "Xiao Rou, help me to the main hall." Xiao Rou heard the words of the Heaven's Gate sect master and nodded slowly at him. At this moment, a roar sounded in the air. Hearing this roar, the Heaven's Gate sect master and the elders had only taken a few steps when their bodies trembled. Why did this roar sound so familiar? Then, they saw the White Tiger in midair charging at them. Seeing that the White Tiger was in the air again, the Heaven's Gate sect master hurriedly stopped Xiao Rou's support. He walked forward and slowly said to the White Tiger in the air, "Senior White Tiger, is there something wrong?" Seeing the White Tiger return, the Heaven's Gate sect master's heart was in a mess. The White Tiger looked at the Heaven's Gate sect master below and ignored him. He swept his gaze across the area but did not find Fentian. Where was he? White Tiger only remembered that Xiao Changtian had told him to follow Fentian obediently after he was halfway there. If he went back alone, he would be beaten by Xiao Changtian like Black Tortoise. Thinking that Xiao Changtian might be angry, the White Tiger immediately turned back. However, how could he tell the Heaven's Gate sect master and the others such a reason? When the Heaven's Gate sect master saw that the White Tiger in the sky did not answer, his heart trembled. If this White Tiger really wanted to make a move on them, they would have no way out either. At this moment, the White Tiger also glanced around. Then he pointed at Xiao Rou and said slowly to the Heaven's Gate sect master, "No, I'm just here to bring someone away. It's her." As he spoke, the White Tiger pointed at Xiao Rou. When the Heaven's Gate sect master heard White Tiger's words, he was also stunned. What was going on? Senior White Tiger came back to bring people? Following the direction of the White Tiger's finger, the Heaven's Gate sect master also realized that the White Tiger was actually going to take away the person he liked. At this moment, the Heaven's Gate sect master looked at the White Tiger with a strange gaze. Could it be that Senior White Tiger also wanted to? At this moment, the White Tiger's voice was heard again. "But, can't I?" When the Heaven's Gate sect master heard White Tiger's words, he gritted his teeth and raised his head. He smiled at the White Tiger in the sky and said, "Of course, White Tiger Senior, why not?" Then he pulled Xiao Rou beside him and said to the White Tiger in the sky, "Xiao Rou, you can go with Senior White Tiger. You must serve Senior White Tiger well." When the White Tiger heard the Heaven's Gate sect master's words, he did not say anything else. He grabbed Xiao Rou, who was below him, and she felt a force pulling her towards him. Then, under the gaze of the Elysium people, the White Tiger left with Xiao Rou again. At this moment, the Heaven's Gate sect master looked in the direction where the White Tiger had left and was also furious. This was too much, too much. Then, the Heaven's Gate sect master waved at an elder beside him. "Have you reported it? What did the people in human realm upon heaven say?" When the Heaven's Gate elder heard the Heaven's Gate sect master's words, he was also stunned. Then he slowly said to him, "Sect master, the report has been sent over, but there is still no news. Just you wait, White Tiger." The Heaven's Gate sect master looked at the direction where the white tiger had left and clenched his fists. He did not believe that the white tiger could still be so free with the help of the human realm upon heavens. Upon hearing the Heaven's Gate sect master's words, an elder beside him slowly said to him, "Sect master, be careful with your words. If Senior White Tiger hears this and turns back again, it won't be good." Hearing this elder's words, the Heaven's Gate sect master also covered his mouth. With a wave of his sleeve, he walked toward his own hall. Needless to say, he was really afraid that the white tiger would come back and cause trouble again. Then, the sect master seemed to have thought of something. He said slowly to the elders behind him, "Is the divine eye back yet? If he is, tell him to come and see me." The Heaven's Gate sect master remembered that Fantion had been summoned by the divine eye. He also wanted to know what had happened in the divine realm. Chapter 492, Lost, 8th, Tianyuan Continent, Daong Town. In the air, a stream of light flashed, and then the white tiger's figure landed on the surface of Daong Town. When they arrived at Daong Town, the white tiger's body kept shrinking until it finally turned into a small cat. Xiao Rou looked at the white tiger in front of her that had suddenly turned into a kitten. He was also a little surprised. The white tiger's voice sounded in his mind. "Don't ask. Do as I tell you." Then, the white tiger turned into a stream of light and entered Xiao Rou's arms. At this moment, the white tiger slowly said to Xiao Rou, "You know the great sun sect in front of us, right?" Xiao Rou heard the white tiger's words and did not dare to ask anything. Previously, he had also seen the white tiger killing everyone in the heavenly gates. How could she dare to go against her will now? Xiao Rou was strong enough to hold her own on the Tianyuan continent. He released his holy sense and sensed the location of the Great Sun sect. Following that, Xiao Rou's figure flashed and flew towards the Great Sun sect. At this moment, outside the Great Sun Divine Palace, Xiao Changtian also waved his hand at Taoist Big Sun and the others. "You guys can go back. There's no need to send me off." Xiao Changtian also wanted to return to his courtyard after eating in the Great Sun Divine Palace. When Taoist De Yang and the others heard Xiao Changshan's words, they smiled at him. "All right, Senior. Take care then." At this time, the Great Sun Immortal also thought of something and said to Xiao Chang'an, "Senior, there's still this." Xiao Changtian smiled at him when he heard the words of the Great Sun Immortal. "Thank you very much." Xiao Changtian slowly took the seeds of the fiery tree from the hands of the Great Sun Immortal and walked down the mountain. At this moment, the Great Solar Sage and the Beast Tamer sect master saw Xiao Changshan's appearance. They all sighed with emotion. "Senior, you have really refined your heart to the extreme." After drinking, the way he walked was also very similar to those mortals who were drunk. After leaving the Great Sun sect, Xiao Changtian slowly walked towards his own progenitor. At this moment, Xiao Rou and the white tiger slowly appeared on Xiao Changshan's path. The white tiger saw Xiao Changtian and jumped down from Xiao Rou's body. He slowly walked into Xiao Changshan's arms. Xiao Changtian saw the white tiger and smiled at him. "Little white." Then, Xiao Changtian waved his hand and the white tiger came into Xiao Changshan's arms. He even stuck out his tongue and licked Xiao Changshan's arm. Xiao Rou was at a loss for words when she saw the white tiger's expression. Why did this senior white tiger run into the arms of a mortal? Then Xiao Changtian slowly said to the white tiger in his arms, "Little white, where is that monk?" Now that Xiaobai had returned to his side, he had to return the Buddha beads to her. After all, he remembered that the monk didn't look very rich. When the white tiger heard Xiao Changshan's words, it also rubbed against Xiao Changtian. Xiao Changtian looked at the white tiger in his arms and saw Xiao Rou in front of him. Then, Xiao Rou's slender figure was reflected in Xiao Changshan's eyes. Did Xiaobai follow this woman here? Xiao Rou felt Xiao Changshan's gaze and slowly said, "Senior." He couldn't sense any aura from Xiao Changtian. However, a person who could be treated like this by the white tiger could not be as simple as a mortal. At this moment, Xiao Changtian said to Xiao Rou, "Did you help me bring Xiaobai back?" Xiao Rou heard Xiao Changshan's words and saw the reaction of the white tiger in Xiao Changshan's arms. He nodded at Xiao Changtian. Then what is your relationship with that monk? A monk? Xiao Rou was also a little confused when she heard Xiao Changshan's words. She had not been in the Heaven Gate for long and had never seen Fan Tian before. Hence, she did not know what Fan Tian looked like. Xiao Changtian looked at Xiao Rou's hesitant face and sized her up. Could it be that Xiaobai ran out on her own? At this moment, White Tiger's voice rang out in Xiao Rou's mind. Quickly tell master that that person is your master. Xiao Rou received the White Tiger's voice transmission and her body trembled. Could the monk this senior mentioned be the sect master? Then, he recalled the appearance of the Heaven's Gate sect master. He seemed to be bald too. There didn't seem to be anything wrong with being called a monk by a senior. Hey, Xiao Rou, why are you talking about the sect master like that? The sect master wants you to be his disciple. As Xiao Rou thought about this, she slowly said to Xiao Changtian, Senior, that is my master. Xiao Changtian nodded after hearing Xiao Rou's words. So she was that monk's disciple. But why did this Buddhist monk accept a female disciple? The cultivation world was really strange. With that thought in mind, Xiao Changtian also took out the Buddha beads from his interspatial ring. This is for you. Take it. Xiao Rou was shocked when she saw the Buddha beads in Xiao Changshan's hand. From the appearance of the Buddha beads, she could also feel a powerful aura. This Buddha bead was a great killing weapon. Then, Xiao Rou slowly took the Buddha beads from Xiao Changshan's hands. It seemed that his deduction just now was not wrong. This was indeed a senior who had concealed his cultivation. At this moment, Xiao Changtian saw Xiao Rou take the Buddha beads and did not think too much about it. He walked down the mountain. Xiao Rou looked at Xiao Changshan's departing figure and then looked at the Buddha beads in her hand. That senior was the master of the White Tiger. His strength was definitely unfathomable. He had also separated from senior White Tiger. It was just that how should he go back? Xiao Rou looked up at the sky. It was the White Tiger that had brought her here. She had no idea how to get back to the Divine Gate. Moreover, she had never been to this place before. Xiao Rou was helpless. She looked at the direction Xiao Changtian left and quickly followed. Xiao Changtian looked at Xiao Rou and said slowly, Miss, is there anything else? Xiao Rou heard Xiao Changshan's words and said to him slowly, Senior, I'm lost. Hearing Xiao Rou's words, Xiao Changtian smiled at her. So she was lost. But thinking about it, it made sense. She was just a young girl, and the roads in Dayong town were complicated. It was normal that he couldn't find his way back. Then, Xiao Changtian slowly said to Xiao Rou, Then do you know where you are? Xiao Rou shook her head when she heard Xiao Changshan's words. Every time they went to the heavenly gates, it was the elders inside the heavenly gates who went out to pick them up. She had never gone in by herself. Xiao Changtian saw Xiao Rou shaking her head and felt troubled. Chapter 493, Azu. In a glorious palace in the heavenly gates. At this moment, in the hall, the Heaven's Gate sect master was sitting on the head seat. Looking at the divine eye below, she slowly said to him, According to what you said, there is still a powerful cultivator in the divine realm. The divine eye stood below and did not refute the Heaven's Gate sect master's words. When the divine eye arrived at the divine gate, the White Tiger had already left. Seeing the miserable state of the Heaven's Gate, the divine eye also hurriedly told the Heaven's Gate sect master about the White Tiger he had encountered in the Drunken Immortal restaurant. Then do you have any plans? The Heaven's Gate sect master stroked his long beard and said slowly to the divine eye below. The divine eye was an existence akin to a military advisor in the heavenly gates. Usually, the heavenly gates sect would seek his opinion on anything. There was still no news from heavens beyond. The Heaven's Gate sect master was also thinking of what he could do. Otherwise, not only would Elysium lose face, but it would also be difficult to explain to the people from beyond Avalon. At this moment, the divine eyes were also flickering. Then, he said slowly to the Heaven's Gate sect master, Sect master, you said that the White Tiger took away a woman? When the Heaven's Gate sect master heard the divine eye's words, his expression also changed. He said somewhat unhappily, Yeah, what does it matter? Was this divine eye exposing his shortcomings? When the divine eye heard the Heaven's Gate sect master's words, it also slowly said to the Heaven's Gate sect master, "Sect master, I remember that Xiao Rao's clan was also in the divine realm." The divine eye slowly transmitted a message to the Heaven's Gate sect master. Then, the Heaven's Gate sect master also revealed a smile. "Divine eye, is this plan feasible?" "Sect master, leave it to me. Don't worry." The divine eye also promised him when it heard the Heaven's Gate sect master's words. When the Heaven's Gate sect master saw the solemn look on Xin Yan's face, he also said to him, "I'll give you the na and na." Then, the divine eye slowly left the hall. Tian Yuan Continent, Daong Town. Xiao Changtian shook his head when he saw the little girl beside him. It was not easy to deal with this little girl who was lost. Then, he waved his hand and slowly said to her, "Then come to my courtyard first. I'll go with you to your house later." Xiao Changtian remembered that there were many temples in Daong Town. If they really wanted to find him, it wouldn't be easy. It was better to return to the courtyard and mobilize his disciples. This way, it would be easier to find them. Xiao Rou heard Xiao Changshan's words and a trace of joy appeared on her face. Following that, Xiao Changtian led Xiao Rou to Xiao Changshan's courtyard. As soon as she entered the courtyard, Roxanne saw Alpha at the door. At this moment, Alpha was holding a chess piece in each hand and playing chess by himself. Xiao looked at Alpha and a huge shadow of the heaven-swallowing dog appeared in her mind. Alpha opened his bloody mouth, stepped on the stars, and roared at Xiao Rou. What? "Senior!" Roxanne saw Alpha in her mind and cried out in desperation. Then he ran toward Xiao Changtian. He grabbed Xiao Changshan's arm and refused to let go. Xiao Changtian looked at Xiao Rao's nervous expression and saw her grabbing his arm. After all, he was a man who had just drunk alcohol and was full of vigor. "Miss, aren't you afraid that I won't be able to control myself by doing this?" Xiao Changtian said slowly in his heart. Then he looked at Xiao Rou. At the entrance, Alpha was staring in her direction. Oh, so she was afraid of dogs. When Xiao Changtian saw Alpha, he immediately understood. He then said to the small round, "Young lady, don't be afraid. It's just a dog that we raise. It won't bite." While he spoke, he patted Xiao Zaire's palm. Xiao Rou heard Xiao Changshan's words and her heart was in shock. The heaven-swallowing dog was actually a puppy raised by Senior at home? Such a divine beast was actually willing to be raised by others? Also, Senior had just said that the heaven-swallowing dog wouldn't bite, but the scene in his mind, Xiao Rou shuddered when she recalled the image of the heaven-swallowing dog opening its bloody mouth. However, Xiao Changtian patted his palm. Xiao Rou looked at Xiao Changtian beside her and suddenly felt a sense of security. At this moment, Xiao Changtian also said slowly to Alpha, "Alpha, we're on the same side. Don't scare the girl." Alpha heard Xiao Changshan's words and lowered his head, continuing to play chess. Xiao Rou looked at Xiao Changtian in front of her when she saw Alpha's obedient appearance. Just how powerful was Senior's strength? Xiao Changtian brought Xiao Rou to the backyard. At this moment, Xiao Changtian slowly said to Xiao Rou, "Young lady, can you let go of my arm now?" Although it felt good to have a girl sticking close to him. However, what if he, a hot-blooded man, could not control himself? Xiao Rao's face turned red when she heard Xiao Changshan's words. Then, she slowly let go of Xiao Changshan's arm. "Senior, I'm sorry." Xiao Changtian sighed in his heart when he saw Xiao Rao's bashful expression. "Sigh, Alpha too. Look at how scared the girl is." She had to talk to Alpha properly in the future. Then, Xiao Changtian slowly walked toward his rocking chair. "There are a few unoccupied rooms over there. You can choose one." Xiao Changtian pointed to a few rooms as he walked and spoke to Xiao Rou. Xiao Rou also thanked Xiao Changtian after hearing his words. After taking a few steps, he arrived at the pond in the backyard. Looking into the pool, he saw a green-haired turtle and a goldfish playing happily in the pool. What was this? Xiao Rou looked at the pool and then in her mind. A xuanwu, whose limbs were as high as the sky and surrounded by endless seawater, slowly appeared. There was also an ancestral dragon that suppressed the heavens and had monstrous luck. It was roaring at him. "Aha!" Xiao Rou looked at the two mythical beasts in her mind and let out another scream. At this moment, Xiao Changtian was sleeping on his rocking chair. Hearing Xiao Rou's call, he immediately sat up from the rocking chair. Just as he was about to say something, he saw Xiao Rou running towards him. With a plop, she fell into his arms. Xiao Changtian looked at Xiao Rou in front of him and adjusted his body. "Miss, is it really okay for you to be like this?" At this moment, Xiao Rou was hugging Xiao Changtian tightly. Chapter 494, Xiao Rou's Return, 1. Dayang Town, Xiao Changshan's courtyard. Xiao Changtian slowly raised his arm and patted Xiao Rou's back. "Miss, what's wrong?" Xiao Rou also pointed in the direction of the pond. "Senior, the pond water, pool water?" He remembered that there was only a goldfish and an old turtle in the pond. Could it be that this girl was also afraid of turtles like Jiu'er? Xiao Changtian was speechless. Why were all the women in the cultivation world afraid of turtles? Xiao Changtian said to Xiao Rou slowly, "Young lady, why don't you get up first? I'll go take a look." Although hugging a beautiful woman like this was quite satisfying, his chest was still hurting. Xiao Rou heard Xiao Changshan's words and realized something. He quickly stood up from Xiao Changshan's body. After tidying herself up, she stood in front of Xiao Changtian with a slightly red face. Xiao Changtian took a few deep breaths and stood up from his rocking chair. He walked towards the pond. "Don't come out of the water to scare people, okay?" When Black Tortoise saw Xiao Rou, he wanted to tease her. Hearing Xiao Changshan's words, he immediately moved his four limbs. With a swoosh, he swam to the bottom of the pool. Zhu Long saw Xiao Changtian by the pond and did not dare to show his head. He followed Black Tortoise and swam into the water. Seeing them swim down, Xiao Changtian turned around and said to Xiao Rou, "Miss, let me bring you there." Xiao Changtian finally understood that this girl was definitely inexperienced. She was afraid of everything she saw. It was better for him to bring her to the room. At this moment, Xiao Rou also heard giggles. Looking at the source of the sound, he saw an old hen looking at the pond and laughing. Xiao Rou looked over and a phoenix covered in endless fire appeared in her mind. "Old hen, go back to your nest." Xiao Changtian looked at the old hen and shouted at him. This girl was afraid of dogs, turtles, and perhaps even old hens. It was better for him to be more cautious. He might not be able to control himself. At this moment, Xiao Rou pointed in the direction of the hen's nest. Xiao Changtian saw where she was pointing and said slowly, "Miss, it's nothing. It's just that the old hen at home is a little naughty." Xiao Rou heard Xiao Changshan's words and nodded her head, not fully understanding. The phoenix that shook the world was just an old hen in Senior's house? "Let's go, girl. I'll take you to your room." Xiao Changtian was about to bring Ruru into the room. At this moment, a voice slowly entered Xiao Changshan's ears. "Master, someone outside has sent a letter." "Send a letter?" Xiao Changtian heard Mu Jiahuang's voice and slowly turned his head. She took the envelope from Mu Jiahuang. On it was also the words, "Xiao Rou, open." It turned out that the monk had sent someone to deliver the letter. Then Xiao Changtian slowly said to Mu Jiahuang, Did you see anyone send it?" Hearing Xiao Changshan's words, Mu Jiahuang shook her head. "No, I just heard a knock on the door. When I opened the door, I found this letter." Hearing Mu Jiahuang's words, Xiao Changtian slowly handed the envelope in his hand to Xiao Rou. "This is for you. Take a look." Xiao Rou took the envelope from Xiao Changtian and slowly opened it. Looking at the contents of the envelope, Xiao Rou's expression slowly turned sour. Xiao Changtian looked at Xiao Rou and said slowly, "Miss, is there anything?" After Xiao Rou heard Xiao Changshan's words, she also held the envelope in her hand. He said slowly to Xiao Changtian, "Senior, something happened at home. Can I ask for your help?" Inside the envelope was a letter that his father had just written. He said that he had found the ancestral land, but he had encountered the obstruction of his enemy, the Qin family. Xiao Changtian heard Xiao Rou's words and continued, "What trouble did you encounter?" "My family found the ancestral land, but my old enemies came to find me." Xiao Rou was a little worried as she spoke. It seemed that the situation in the clan was not very optimistic. Xiao Changtian understood what Xiao Rou meant. No wonder this girl got lost with the monk. It turned out that something had happened in the temple. It was understandable. Those temples were very particular about their geographical location. They were particular about a piece of good land with good feng shui. It was normal to be boycotted by some local forces. Thinking of the monk helping him take care of Little White, Xiao Changtian said to Xiao Rou slowly, "Since we are in trouble, let's pack up and set off." While speaking, Xiao Changtian slowly went to get his bamboo basket. After this, he would definitely take a good rest. Xiao Rou heard Xiao Changshan's words and looked at him with gratitude. "Senior, not only is your strength profound, but you also seem to be amiable." When Xiao Rou saw the situation in the family, she immediately thought of Xiao Changtian, the owner of many divine beasts. In a moment of desperation, he wanted to ask for his help, but he didn't expect Senior to agree directly. Soon, Xiao Changtian arrived in front of Xiao Rou. "Miss Xiao Rou, let's go." Xiao Rou nodded at Xiao Changtian. Not long after he walked out of the courtyard, the two antennae of the chaos ant on Xiao Changshan's shoulder also emitted a burst of silver light. Then Xiao Rou and Xiao Changtian were enveloped by a spatial power. Soon Xiao Rou and Xiao Changtian arrived at a place in the divine world. Xiao Rou and Xiao Changtian walked a few steps on the street. Then, Xiao Rou saw a house in front of them and said to Xiao Changtian, "Senior, that is my home." As she spoke, Xiao Rou's words revealed a hint of joy. Senior's strength was indeed profound. It had only been a short while and he had already brought her to his house. Xiao Changtian heard Xiao Rou's words and looked towards the house in front of him. So Miss Xiao Rou's house was so close. They had only walked a few steps. If he had known earlier, he would have directly brought Miss Xiao Rou home. Xiao Changtian slowly pushed open the door under Xiao Rou's lead. Then Xiao Changtian and Xiao Rou came to a house. In front of Xiao Changtian and Xiao Rou was a courtyard. There was nothing in the courtyard except for a peach blossom tree. Xiao Rou saw the peach blossom tree and slowly walked towards it. He slowly placed his hand on the peach tree, his eyes filled with memories. Chapter 495. The Lin Family's Dilemma, 1. Divine World, in a courtyard. Xiao Rou stood in front of the peach tree and touched it. Then Xiao Changtian came to Xiao Rou's side and said to her slowly, "Xiao Rou, what's wrong?" Xiao Rou heard Xiao Changshan's words and said slowly, "Senior, this is the peach tree my parents picked for me when I was young. You know what? When I left home, the peach tree was still so small." While speaking, Xiao Rou was still gesturing to Xiao Changtian the height of a small peach tree. At this moment, Xiao Changtian was also quietly listening to Xiao Rou's words. It seemed that Xiao Rou was also a girl with a story. "Senior, did you know that my parents sent me away because of the Qin family? In the end, I also ran around everywhere. It was only when I reached the heavenly gates that I received news of my family." Xiao Changtian sat beside Xiao Rou and listened quietly. It seemed that everyone had their own difficulties. He had come to the cultivation world with the intention of being able to command the wind and clouds. He did not expect that he would only become a mortal in the end, living an ignoble life in the cultivation world. At this moment, Xiao Changtian also patted Xiao Rou's head. At the same time, a woman walked in from outside the courtyard. When he saw the figure in front of the peach tree in the courtyard, the basin in his hand fell to the ground with a bang. Bang. Accompanied by the sound of water splashing on the ground, Xiao Rou and Xiao Changtian also looked behind them. "Xiao Rou." The woman looked at the woman in the courtyard. Her face was a little sad, and tears were swirling in her eyes. Xiao Rou heard the woman's voice and felt a little sad. Then the woman also hugged tightly into the arms of the small, round and small, round, 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 round. round, 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 round. Round, 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 round. Xiaoro, it's good that you're back, it's good that you're back. Oh right. Mother heard the news of your return a while ago, so she made your favorite peach blossom cake. Mother will go and get it for you now. As she spoke, the middle-aged woman was a little agitated. Then he got up and walked towards the courtyard. At this moment, Xiaoro called out to the woman in front of her and said slowly, "Mother, where's father? I want to see him." Xiaoro still remembered that her father liked to play on the swing with her in the yard when she was young. When the woman heard Xiaoro's words, her body trembled. Then he thought of something and quickly walked in front of Xiaoro. He grabbed her hands and said slowly, "Xiaoro, hurry up and leave. That Qin Feng is currently in the mansion." Xiaoro's expression changed when she heard Qin Feng's name. The reason why she left the Lin family back then was because of this Qin Feng. Back then when the Lin family and Qin family were fighting, the Lin family was weak and that Qin Feng took a fancy to him. In order for her to leave, her parents had secretly sent her away. He did not expect that after so many years, Qin Feng was still in the Lin family. The grudge between the Qin family and the Lin family had existed for a long time. For many years, the two forces had been constantly fighting and had conflicts with each other. However, the Qin family only had a slight advantage. If he really wanted to destroy the Lin family, it was simply impossible. However, this time, the Qin family was supported by some unknown force. The young master of the Qin family had actually brought people to the Lin family and asked to cut off the Lin family's ancestral land. Xiaoro heard the woman's words and slowly said to him, "Mother, I'll go over and take a look first." When the woman heard Xiaoro's words, she looked at Xiaoro's figure as she walked forward. He also wanted to grab her hand, but it was empty. "Xiaoro. Auntie, don't worry. I'll take good care of Xiaoro." Xiao Changtian also walked past the woman and headed towards the courtyard. Since he had promised to help him defeat his enemy, naturally, he couldn't just stand by and watch. It was better for him to reason with these natives. At the same time, in the Lin family's courtyard. At this moment, an old man was sitting on a chair in the courtyard. Beside him were a few middle-aged men. Opposite the old man was a young man in black. The man did not have any guards around him. There was only an old man covered in black clothes. At this moment, the young man stood on a chair and looked at the group of people opposite him. He slowly said, "How about it, Lin Yuan? Have you thought about it? Are you going to give up this place or not?" Hearing the young man's words, the old man sitting in the hall also had some anger on his face. However, the Lin family did not say anything. The Qin family dared to deal with their Lin family so brazenly. He definitely had something to rely on. If they casually got into a conflict with others, no one would be able to bear the responsibility for the Lin family's destruction. When the young man saw that the Lin family did not speak, he crossed his legs and sat on a chair. He slowly said to the people opposite him, "It's fine if you don't want to give up your territory, but..." As he spoke, Qin Feng revealed a smile. "You can join our Qin family and become our subordinate forces. This way, we won't deal with you. Who knows, I might even give you a large amount of cultivation resources. Your Lin family might even be able to reach a higher level of strength." As he spoke, Qin Feng raised his hands and laughed loudly in the hall. In the main hall, Lin Yuan's face was also filled with fury after hearing Qin Feng's words. This Qin Feng was going too far. He actually dared to talk so much nonsense to him in front of the Lin family. If he did not do something, not only would he lose his prestige in front of the Lin family, but he would also lose his reputation. More importantly, after word got out, the Lin family's performance in the other factions would also be unable to raise their heads. Following that, Lin Yuan gave a look to a middle-aged man beside him. When the middle-aged man received Lin Yuan's gaze, he also jumped up from the ground. He charged towards Qin Feng. Qin family, you guys are going too far. The middle-aged man's hands carried a strong gust of wind as he charged towards Qin Feng. Qin Feng looked at the middle-aged man who was coming towards him, and his true origin surged. Faint yellow true essence surged out and formed a palm wind in front of him. It collided with the middle-aged man in front of him. Lin Lin, the pillar of this generation of the Lin family. As long as I defeat you, the rest of the Lin family will accept their fate. As Qin Feng said this, the true essence in his hand carried a killing power as he attacked Lin Lin. As for Lin Lin, she was not afraid when she saw Qin Feng coming at her. Under everyone's gaze, he charged towards Qin Feng. Bang! When the two palms collided, a wave of air was emitted in the hall. Chapter 496. Leave it to me. 1. Divine World, Lin family residence. In the main hall, Qin Feng and Lin Lin's palms collided, causing waves of air currents to be emitted in the main hall. Qin Feng looked at Lin Lin opposite him as a cold smile flashed across his mouth. Blood demon killing fist. Qin Feng hollered loudly. Following which, his palm transformed into a fist. The blood-red true essence on his body also attacked Lin Lin. At this moment, in Lin Lin's mind, a figure condensed from blood-red true essence slowly stood up. Qin Feng stood in midair and was about to attack Lin Lin with a punch. In the face of absolute power, everything is futile. Qin Feng hollered at Lin Lin and attacked with a fist wind. In terms of cultivation, he was at the peak of the God Emperor realm, while Lin Lin was only a cultivator who had entered the God Emperor realm not long ago. 5. How could she compare with him? When Lin Lin heard Qin Feng's words, the corners of his mouth also curled into a smile. Spreading his arms, the true essence on his body also continuously rose. Azure Mystic Whirlwind Palm. In the hall, Lin Lin continued to maintain her palm. The true essence on his body continued to rise, forming a strong wind around his body. In the spiritual world, Qin Feng's expression changed when he saw Lin Lin's sudden outburst. What was going on? Qin Feng actually sensed an aura that was even stronger than his from Lin Lin. Suppressing the panic in his heart, Qin Feng also shouted at Lin Lin below. Lowly ants, go to hell. When Lin Lin heard Qin Feng's words, she did not reply. Qin Xian whirlwind palm formed and attacked from behind. The palm brought with it a strong gust of wind as it collided with the red fist. Bang! When the palm wind touched the fist, it directly penetrated through it. How is this possible? No, how is this possible? Qin Feng muttered when he saw Lin Lin's palm casually pass through his fist. Looking at the incoming palm wind, a trace of fear appeared on Qin Feng's face. And no, no, no. Elder, save me. At this moment, Qin Feng's figure also shot out explosively and ran behind him. In the hall, the black-robed man who came with Qin Feng also moved at this moment. The palm wind arrived as expected and struck Qin Feng's body. Qin Feng's figure also flew out and landed in the hands of the black-robed man. The man in black pressed his palm against the back of his black back and looked at his terrified face. After stabilizing Qin Feng's body, he said with a disdainful expression. The black-robed man also directly stood on the spot and attacked Lin Lin. When the black-robed man moved, the Lin family members in the hall only saw an afterimage fly past in front of them. Then, the man in black came in front of Lin Lin. Bone-devouring palm. The black-clothed man's hand carried a black aura as he struck out a palm at Lin Lin. Lin Lin saw the man in black who had suddenly appeared in front of her. He instinctively covered his chest with his hands. Bang! The man in black slapped Lin Lin's hands. Then, everyone from the Lin family saw Lin Lin's figure fly out. It landed on a chair in the hall. Seeing Lin Lin's appearance, everyone from the Lin family looked at the black-robed man with some fear. At this moment, Lin Lin slowly got up from the ground. Lin Lin wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth and slowly said to the black-clothed person opposite her, God Emperor. Godly Emperor. Hearing Lin Lin's words, everyone from the Lin family was shocked. Facing a godly emperor, their Lin family did not have any ability to resist. The strongest person in their Lin family was only the current family head, Lin Yuan, who was at the peak of the God Emperor realm. At this moment, Lin Yuan looked at the black-clothed person opposite him and slowly walked forward. He slowly said to him, "Fellow Taoist, our Lin family doesn't have any enmity with you, right? I hope fellow Taoist will not interfere in the matters of our Lin family and the Qin family on account of the Lin family's ancestor." In fact, it was rumored that their Lin family had an ancestor with the cultivation of a godly emperor. This was also the reason why they were able to compete with the Qin family for so many years. At this moment, the black-clothed man chuckled when he heard Lin Yuan's words. "Lin family's ancestor, what is that thing? It's simple for me to come here today. You either submit or die." As he spoke, the black-robed man also displayed the godly emperor's aura on his body. Bang! The godly emperor's aura pressed down on the Lin family's chests. The Lin family looked at the black-robed man and held back their anger. However, none of them made a move. If they made a move at this time, wouldn't it bring disaster to the family? When Lin Yuan heard the black-clothed person's words, he was also somewhat uncertain. Then, he sighed and slowly said to the man in black, "Sir, are you really so determined? What the Qin family can give you, we can do the same." Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, the black-robed man's figure flashed and he arrived beside Lin Lin. He stepped on his head and said to the Lin family, "You guys talk too much nonsense. Just tell me, surrender or die. You don't have much time to think." As he spoke, the man in black looked down at Lin Lin. "Why don't we start with you first?" Seeing the black-robed man's appearance, anger flashed across the faces of the Lin family members. At this moment, they were also looking at Lin Yuan, who was in the hall. Now, as long as Lin Yuan gave the order, everyone from the Lin family would definitely go up and fight the black-robed man. At the same time, Xiao Rou brought Xiao Changtian out of the hall. Xiao Rou saw Lin Lin in the hall and shouted at him, "Father!" Xiao Changtian heard Xiao Rou's words and looked into the hall. The man in black stepped on Lin Lin. At this moment, Lin Lin heard Xiao Rou's voice in the hall. His body shook as he looked out of the hall. Seeing Xiao Rou's figure, her body started to struggle violently. The man in black sensed Lin Lin's emotional fluctuations and smiled at him slowly. "That girl is very important to you, right? Your Lin family has considered this for so long. Kill her to prolong my patience." As he spoke, the man in black raised his arm and sucked at Xiao Rou. At this moment, when everyone from the Lin family saw this change, the anger on their faces could not be contained. He was about to attack the man in black. "Don't be impulsive." Lin Yuan looked at the Lin family and shouted. At this moment, Xiao Rou also felt an attractive force on her body. He wanted to attract her over. Then he pressed a palm on Xiao Rou's body. "Miss Xiao Rou, leave it to me." Xiao Rou felt her shoulders being pressed down and looked to her side. Xiao Chengtan was standing beside him, looking at the man in black opposite him as he spoke slowly. "You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.